Hello and welcome to RP Live. Thanks very much for your company. On this bumper Saturday, we've got action from Ascot, Haydock and Lingfield, potentially some interesting classic trials at Lingfield with both Godolphin and Coolmore strongly represented. My name's Danny Archer. I'm sitting in for Dave, who's on his holidays this week. A well-deserved break for Dave Orton, but delighted to be joined in the studio by both Charlie Poste and Graeme Rodway, as we'll hopefully point you in the direction of a few winners. But the show, of course, is sponsored by Betfair. I'd like to say that Barry Orr, after being at Newmarket last week, he's also back in the hot seat in Dublin. Hopefully can point you all in the direction of some interesting action and, most importantly, some winners this afternoon. Charlie, start with you. How are you? Good week?
Great form, Danny, yeah. I was informed by Dave, like you say, as he's off on his holidays, that you were sitting in for him and we were to go easy on you. But like 9 races today, there's not going to be too much time for pontificating about too much or letting Rodders in with a few sensational statements, because you're going to be fast and furious.
We'll see. Thrown into the deep end, but some good flat and also some jump action. The Swinton should be a good competitive race today.
Swinton, yeah, it looks like a really good renewal, doesn't it? A lot of the Scottish champion hurdle horses renewing rivalry, so looking forward to that.
Graeme, how are you?
Yeah, very well, Danny. Yeah, good to see an upgrade in the presenter chair this week. Got rid of that bloke Orton in the end, didn't we?
Just about, for 1 week only. But no, it's a pleasure to be alongside the guys, and hopefully they can point you in the direction of plenty winners throughout the afternoon. Do remember to like and subscribe on YouTube, or if you're watching on Facebook, do like and share. But let's hand over to the man himself, Barry Orr. How are you, Barry?
Hey guys, how are we?
Good, Barry. How are you? Good. Did you enjoy the Guineas last week?
Did, yeah. I enjoyed the Guineas. 2 great days racing. There were 3 great days racing actually there, and I also enjoyed Chester. Just back from there. Cracking couple of days in Chester, so it was a great meeting to get to. Thoroughly recommend it to anybody out there who wants to go for a good day's racing and a bit of crack afterwards. Definitely Chester, the highlight of the season so far.
Standout performance at Chester, Barry?
I'd say it's the horse that won the last race on the Thursday, the Aidan O'Brien horse. I backed that 11-4 and it finished up 7-4. So
Temple of Artemis.
Temple of Artemis, yeah, that was one we were glad to see win for sure. But Ryan Moore riding out of his skin. I think 11 rides, he rode 8 winners. Just had their number all day long around there.
Just over 10 minutes until the first, Barry, so why don't you run us through the Lucky 15 for today's action?
Yeah, so G-Rod, I think you're going to put on the Lucky 15 for us.
I am,
obviously,
yeah.
15 bets, 6 doubles, 4 trebles, an accumulator, and 4 singles. We're going to do it for a quid each way, so it's going to cost us 30 quid in the first race at Ascot in the 145, our first race anyway. Mascot, I'm putting in there. In the 315 at Lingfield, Belt Buckle, owned by Andrew Black, founder of Betfair. Then in the 330, Stunning Beauty. And in the 405, where it's 6 places on the Betfair Sportsbook, Gaia Cheka is going to be our horse there. In the 145, incidentally, it's 5 places to each way punters on the Betfair Sportsbook, and then in that 405, the Victoria Cup, it's 6 places to each way punters. So watch out for those additional places. But they're the 4: Mascot, Belt Buckle, Stunning Beauty, and Joya Cheka. And if that comes in, if they all win, I think we're going to get a nice few quid out of that, G-Rod.
Yeah. As my mate Robbie Wilders would say, you know, you could be off to Marbella. Well, that can you? £56,341.17 if they all come in, Barry.
Happy days. So fingers crossed. We haven't picked a charity for the month of May just yet. It's something we'll put out on social and we'll see. But last month, retraining of racehorses, we won €425 for them. So be a check on their way to retraining of racehorses on Monday from Betfair.
Any other offers we should be aware of from Betfair today, Barry?
But there's plenty, obviously, on this show. Danny, obviously, you're sitting in for the first time. We use the Betfair Exchange. We want to show people the difference between the exchange and the sportsbook, functionality of the exchange, how you can back horses or lay them or bet in running or set your own prices. Then, obviously, on the sportsbook, where we're more a traditional bookmaker, the enhanced place terms, which I've spoken about there in the 145 and the 405, the Victoria Cup, 5 and 6 places, respectively, to each way punters there. There's a whole host of each additional places each way, and then we also have obviously our standard multiple bets return. Every time you bet a tenner, you get £2 free bet, and obviously we money back specials as a free bet if your horse fails to place in the 205 at Lingfield today. So the second race that we're showing live, if your horse fails to place on the Betfair Sportsbook, you get your money back as a free bet.
Looks an ultra-competitive event, that, so look forward to the 205 and that decent offer from Betfair. Much more from Barry throughout the day, but going to build up as they just finished in the opener at Lingfield to the first at Ascot, 20 grand handicap, 1 mile 4 furlongs. I'll start with you here, G-Rod, pretty competitive. I know Ascot was in the lucky 15 for Barry, but what do you like in the opener? Yeah,
I was with HMS President for me, Danny. Yeah, there's a lot of money for this horse yesterday. I got in at the wrong time and ended up taking 7s. I think it's going to drift back out. I'm trading at 10 on the exchange at the moment, so quite a bit bigger than the 7s that I've taken. But this horse has got some good form last season. He's got course form, which I like. Eve Johnson-Alton's got a decent record in these types of races at Ascot, and Georgie Adobe is claiming off of his back. I'm not sure how much he claims now, but HMS President, £3. They were talking about getting rid of the £3 claim, weren't they? There's a bit to speak about that, yeah. Did you not know that?
No.
Where did I get that from? Did I dream that?
I don't know.
Did I dream that? I'm sure that they're talking about maybe getting rid of the £3 claim and just going 5 and then 0.
Oh, really?
Or have I just is that sensational? Or have I just made that?
I don't know. We could be getting some interesting comments about this. A load of young claiming riders.
I'm sure I read that somewhere.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you would know, Charlie.
Well,
you would know.
I am a jockey coach, and no one's told me that like a load of the £3 claimers I look after need to be riding some winners quickly because it's going to be gone soon. So I've not heard that one.
I'm going to try and find this, and I'll get back to you.
There's some £3 claimers that I'm panicking now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or some £5 claimers that are thinking, crikey, we're going to be under a lot of pressure very soon. Yeah.
But George Adobe, very good for her £3 as well. Really talented rider.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they've done really well, and HMS President, he no luck in running really last time at Musselburgh, G-Rod.
No, I probably needed the run as well, I think, Charlie. I have a feeling that that was probably just a sighter. As I say, got some course form, and I think that maybe they had this race in mind. I always think that this start of the season, it's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult to know who's going to be primed at this time of year and who might still be needing it. We're getting into the meat of it. Once we get to June and July, everything's going to be raring to go. But just at this moment, last week I found it very difficult to find winners, mainly because I wasn't just following Ryan Moore blind, which I obviously should have done. But there were some horses there last week that just didn't run anywhere near their race, like Alba Flora. Yeah. And I mean, that horse should have won that race on all pieces of form, but just ran miles below form. And you can only think that that's because they've got bigger targets coming up in future where they're thinking, we'll just get her out, we'll get a nice spin round and use it as a prep. And I think maybe that's what happened with HMS President last time.
Okay. What about yourself, Charlie?
Just going back to Chester, I think Chester's a real jockey's track as well. And Ryan Moore, like the best of the best. You can see why he excels there. Like those subtle differences that make a massive difference on a track like that. Ryan Moore, man to have on your side, isn't he?
And that ride on Cleveland was unbelievable.
Exquisite though, wasn't it? I mean, like it was the smooth, like for a horse in a big field like that, drawn where he was, to get over to the rail and keep it so smooth, fantastic. This race, Danny, I'm going with Juan de Montalban.
Okay.
I don't know if that's pronounced right or not, but Kevin Philippart de Foy, I think, is a really good young trainer. This horse had a few homes. I mean, he was with David O'Meara last season, but the majority of the back end. Had one run for Kevin, and I thought it was a promising run behind Get Shirty at first. A race that's worked out really well. I think the 2nd, 3rd and 5th are all subsequent winners. And yeah, I mean, I think if he can build on that, and he was rated 100 in August, he's down to 90 now. And yeah, I think I'm really keen on this horse's chances. Some people say maybe Ascot over this sort of trip, you maybe want a wider draw. He is drawn 4, which might be a negative, but hopefully he can go forward. Danny Tudhope, again, a really good jockey booking.
Juan de Montalban, about 8-1, I think, on the exchange. What about yourself here, Barry?
Yeah, so the betting on the exchange at the moment, 5.85 in solo is relatively strong. He's 4-1 on the sports book, but again, it's 5 places to each way. Punters are 9.21 to Montalbano. HMS President is 10, 11 Ziggy. Duke of Verona is 14. Diamond Bay's come in for good support. That's into 10.5. Boss Power in there, 15, and it's 15 Mascat. I like Mascat in. It's in our lucky 15. Joe Tizard obviously has a license in his own name now. He's trained 3 winners. This will be his first winner on the flat. He was ahead second to Going Gone in the Metropolitan Handicap in Epsom last month off 85. He stayed on really well that day. Thankfully, Reece Cutterbuck is able to claim his £3 here before it's gone, according to G-Rod. He's a 5-year-old. He's only had one win on the flat, so he is relatively hard to win with. But I think he could run well here. I really like that run in Epsom in the Metropolitan Handicap. So G-Rod, we're going to have 25 quid each way on the sportsbook. Take advantage of those 5 places on Mascat.
25 each way on the sportsbook, okay, on Mascat.
The sportsbook, G-Rod, yeah.
25 each way.
Navigate between sportsbook and exchange with such ease.
Well,
He's a deft touch. He really has.
I'm a pro.
Excellent work.
You're better than Charlie anyway, thank you.
Yeah, hey, I'm definitely not going to argue with you there, Barry. I'm mightily relieved to be sat in the middle here.
Good stuff. I'm gonna be boring. I'm with Flying Solo. My only slight concern with David Menissier is they've done a winner in the last 14 days, but obviously they are just hopefully going to hit a bit of form. I know Lionel's now out of the Derby trial, but I think Flying Solo, there still could be more to come off a mark of 88, and Ross Orion also in great form at the minute.
Apparently, right, I must have read this wrong. Apparently, during COVID, there was a £3 allowance. Is this right?
Yeah, the
Charlie?
sauna allowance.
Right? And apparently, they're removing the £3 sauna allowance. Is that right?
They're removing most of it, yeah. So it's going to be, instead of being 6 as it was during COVID, allowance on top of the rate you see in the race card, it's only going to be 4 moving forward.
See, what I've done there is I've done what a lot of people on Twitter do, which is they've read the headline and not actually read the story. And I've read the headline and seen £3 allowance might go and thought, oh, they're getting rid of the £3 claim.
I hope the BHA are getting inundated with calls on Monday morning from panicked apprentices that are worrying their £3 claim is going to be gone. Yeah.
Has that been met with support, that move,
No,
jockeys?
No. I mean, look, as in it, I think it's a tricky one. Like if you're, say, an Adam Kirby or someone that struggles, that extra £3 was the difference between not probably having to get up in the morning and spend an hour in the bath, you know. So I think it's a tricky one. I can understand the transparency for punters with the £6 hidden allowance as such, but I think from a rider's point of view, there'd be plenty would not be in favour of it.
And just on Barry's selection, Mascat, obviously Joe Tizard's made a great start. I know he well involved before, but now with a licence in his own name.
You still want to get going, don't you? You know, and he 3 winners. Mascat, like you say, ran really well at Epsom, and you'd imagine he'd get a positive ride from Reece Clutterbuck, which can be advantageous around here.
Mm-hmm. So just a reminder, Juan del Montalban for yourself. I think I've just about said that right.
Yeah.
What about G-Rod, you're with?
Yeah, I'm on HMS President. The money's coming for HMS President now as well. He's being really well backed. So I always like to see this late money. Seems to be very significant, particularly on the exchange. If you see a price that absolutely crashes near the off, you can almost be guaranteed a good run. And that's what's happening here with the President.
What about the betting? Barry, quick update just before the rest of them go in.
Yeah, Flying Solo still favourite 4.4, 8-4 HMS President, then your 9-8 Ziggy at 10 bar, Wanda Mantabano is 10. But yeah, your favourite's relatively strong at the head of the market, Flying Solo. You have been matched at a low or at a high of 9.2. So his graph's only gone one way, and that's down, down, down. 9.2, there was only a small few quid matched at that 20 quid or something, 166 at 8 all the way down. So really strong Flying Solo.
What I'm interested to see actually is right at the bottom, Screaming Petrus for Ammo Racing. Obviously they made a great start. Okay, this gelding's never run on the turf, but I mean Ammo Racing can do no wrong, and nor can David Loughnane. So interested to see.
Yeah, David Loughnane's flying along, isn't he? Yeah, and then, like you say, that they seem to be very shrewd with the horse they buy. Just an interesting one, isn't it? 3 runs on Wolverhampton, round Wolverhampton. How he's going to translate it to grass, but a real lightweight as well.
Mm-hmm. Danehill Kodiak as well, making a return after 1,078 days. Away from racing on the flat. So interesting, just about all in now here for the opener. Flying Solo is going to go off as your favourite. HMS President now into second favourite on the exchange. Juan del Montalban also the pick for Paul Keeley along with Charlie Poste. Now the bigger price, Mascat around just bigger than 18 to 1 now on the exchange is going to be the pick for Barry for this 145 at Ascot. 1 mile, 4 furlongs, a lot of racing to come still today. 9 races we'll be previewing, and this is the opener at Ascot. Juan del Montalban goes towards the front early along with Danehill Kodiak, who's done well coming over from all the way over from a tough draw, Charlie. Yeah,
very much so. I mean, Juan del Montalban, I'm really pleased to see Danny Todd out, getting him out early, and he's kind of, I'd say he's nearly got the box seat at the moment as they start to come over and the race starts to take shape, Danny.
Screaming Petrus and Flying Solo both very, very keen in behind G-Rod.
Yeah, this has been something that you forget a lot with flat racing is that how many horses just lose their chance by pulling too hard. And my one's a bit free and got no cover as well. The President out there wide. So I think it's quite difficult at Ascot, Posty, because the start there was right at the top of the hill, wasn't it? It was right down into Swinley Bottom.
They run properly downhill early on, G-Rod. And like you say, if your trap ride like Flying Solo was, I actually think Ross Orion's done well now. He's got over and managed to get him to switch his head and drop off. But you see a lot of horses running free over that sort of trip. And as they come round Swinley Bottom now, the race starts to settle down as they start climbing uphill towards the finish. What's the current in running here, Barry?
Wanda Maltaban is 6. HMS President is the short. Obviously, he's shortened considerably. He's into 5.5. 8.2 Ziggy's come in for support, and Boss Powers come in to support into 11.
Interested to see how Danehill Kodiak goes after that monster break, but it leads them just probably about round halfway. But Screaming Patrice going nicely in second now for Hayley Turner. Seems to have settled. It
was quite a long way off in my ratings, this Screaming Patrice, but totally unexposed, of course. You know, so probably not had the opportunity to achieve huge ratings. I'm still quite happy with the President. He's going well.
Towards the back of the field, Protected Guest, Just Hubert, all going to have a lot of running to do from there. But still, a lot of our selections are towards the front. Juan de Montalban looks to be going very, very well on the inside. Still, Danehill Kodiak leads them in those. Screaming Patrice now pushed along by Hayley Turner. Flying Solo, Ross Orion giving a bit of a nice, cool ride. Can he get a bit of a gap?
Get through a gap. Find the gap.
What's the in running now, Barry?
5.3 Flying Solo at the moment.
Get through that gap.
Ken's on there, one Maltaban. He's gone
clear.
Come
on, Danny.
Flying Solo now goes on the outside,
Danny.
but Juan de Montalban's going nicely.
Go on, Danny.
Flying Solo staying on. Mascat also making eye-catching run from the back. Georgia Dobie trying to get HMS President through, but Juan de Montalban strides the front inside the final half furlong. Flying Solo staying on along with Mascat, but this is all about Juan de Montalban. Great stuff from Charlie Poste. Paul Keeley as well, winning selection. Flying Solo is going to finish second. Monster run from Danehill Kodiak on the outside, but looks like Mascat, and then in fourth was HMS President. So we filled the first 4 placings in the first race, chaps. Not a bad start.
Yeah, winner for Posty to kick off. Yeah, Juan de Montalban for Kevin Foy.
Kevin Foy, so he was missing out for the middle bit, yeah.
Good ride from Danny, wasn't it?
Really good ride. I was slightly worried about the draw if we got caught back in the field, but he got him out the gate, really used it to his advantageous position and had the box seat all the way and was just waiting for the split. And I mean, look, he's ran out a ready winner in the end, hasn't it?
Nice performance, 7-1. Good stuff. Barry, what did you make of the run from Mascat? Stayed on nicely from the back of the field.
Yeah, he was never really put into the race, if I'm being brutally honest. Obviously, the winner shot clear and they were all running for second place at that stage. But the draw wasn't a big help him with Paul. He was drawn 9 and he settled at the rear of the field. And he's passed a couple of horses. He's finished a clear third, I think, at the finish. Like I said, he's a difficult horse to win with. But we've a multi on the move anyway. The place part of a multi is on the move.
HMS President, G-Rod? Finished a good fourth?
Yeah, a little bit too keen, I think, there, Danny. Through the early part of the race, just that downhill part was a little bit over enthusiastic, and maybe that didn't help the finishing effort because I had to try and manoeuvre her way through a little gap, and it just wasn't there. And if she had not been so keen, I think she might have had the energy to get through it, but it didn't happen for her.
Kevin Foy's just messaging you, I think.
I've got 5 new WhatsApp messages. I wonder if Kevin Foy's been on. Philippart de Foy.
Flying Solo as well, a bit keen early on, wasn't he?
What about the run from Danehill Kodiak on the rail? Great effort from the 9-year-old.
Really good run. And was that first run for Joe Tickle, is it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
You know, I mean, you think he'd be delighted with that. I mean, like I say, a real promising return to action and dual-purpose horse as well, so plenty of options.
A big day ahead for Kevin Philippart de Foy, and he gets off to a great start with Juan de Montalban. Italian Derby runner-up last year, so good to see Juan de Montalban back to winning form. That's the 145 at Ascot. Next up is going to be the 205, the SPK Handicap. Going to be slightly critical here, 7 furlong event. This could be one of the worst races ever shown on ITV Racing. The highest rated horse is 80, and that's not any disrespect to anyone involved, the owners, etc. But I think just on a busy Saturday afternoon, having a 0 to 80 handicap, what do you think, Posty?
Completely agree. What's the reasoning for this race being on in the programme today?
I guess our ITV at Lingfield, so they have to show the required, well, they don't show 4 races. I wouldn't know. That would be my reasoning. Maybe the fact that they're at Lingfield and they've decided to pick up this 205.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, I mean, look, no disrespect, and like maybe there's a few horses in here that are going to go on to bigger and better things, but for a Saturday card, you know, on terrestrial TV, it maybe isn't the greatest showcase. Even
that race at Haydock, you know, that 225, that's a decent, the long distance hurdle. Yeah. I'm surprised that's not on the channel. What do you think, Barry?
In terms of what, Danny?
What do you think about this 205? I mean, you a bit surprised it's on ITV, given the standard of the race being a 0 to 80?
it's just unfortunate one of them came out because it would have been the 8 for each way punter, so that's a bit disappointing. But when you look at the supporting card outside of the listed race and the 2 trials, it's a pretty ordinary card, really. And they hadn't got much options because in the last race, it's an ordinary enough race in Lingfield as well, the 425. But there's only 6 runners in it now. There's 2 non-runners, so I don't know. It's just one of those things. I wouldn't get too caught up on it, to be perfectly honest with you, Danny.
What about the betting for this then? This 205, Barry.
Yeah, so it's 9-4 now. Ex Gracia. Vero Eagle is 3.7. 7 Marley Park, Arjad, Dutch Decoy, and it's 32 par. So quite a competitive betting heat. I was looking to take on Marley Park, not at the price. When I was looking at this earlier on today, it was about a 3-1 chance you could lay it at. It's out to 7.0 now, so it's bang on 6-1. So it's almost doubled in price. He can be very, very keen. He's a real Jamie Spencer horse. If Spencer gets beat on it, he'll get some slagging on social. But the horse is difficult to win with, and he can be very, very keen earlier on. So look for them to drop him out and try to come with a late run. But I'm not going to be laying it at that price, not at 6-1. So we'll keep a watching brief. If their money comes for it and we get it at a shorter price, well, then I'll happily lay it, but not at the current price of 6-1.
I'm going to be with Marley Park, down to 78. I think maybe down to that mark could be more to come. Having won off 74 before at Epsom in September, OK has disappointed in 3 runs so far this term, but I think despite being a bit of an Epsom specialist, maybe can get on the score sheet here at Lingfield. Finished 3rd at the track twice before, and I think worth taking on. Given Ex Gracia was a massive price yesterday. Good support for Jane Chapelheim's charge here off top weight. G-Rod.
Yeah, lots of money for Ex Gracia. Tom Marquand, obviously quite an eye-catching booking for the yard. I like one at a huge price called Starry Eyes. This has got bits and pieces of form this winter, albeit being well beaten, that suggest could be involved in this race. The standout run, of course, was when it was 4th, I think, or 5th in the conditions race, the Winter Derby Trial, in which Living Legend, who won the Jockey Club Stakes, was it last week at Newmarket, finished 3rd. It wasn't that far behind him, and this is Wilkes' run off 66 here. Now, of course, you could say that he was probably flattered there, but there's other bits and pieces of form in stronger races. Like last time out, he ran in the City and Suburban at Epsom. He's a 250-1 outsider, had absolutely no chance of winning that race. But this is just a huge drop in class. Now, I know he's been shown absolutely nothing, but you just said how bad this race is, how weak this race is. I just thought at a huge price, he might be able to run into a place. Rob Hornby's riding for Anthony Carson. Seems an interesting booking as well. I wouldn't say that Hornby's ridden many for Anthony Carson. I could probably find out, but I don't think he has.
He's never ridden this horse before.
That's for sure.
So Starry Eyes.
So Starry Eyes, yeah, I'm on Starry Eyes. I backed him each way. Yeah.
Okay. Good luck to G-Rod with Starry Eyes here. What about yourself, Posty?
I've gone way less left field and just gone for Vero Eagle, horse in form, narrowly denied at Brighton recently. By a course specialist in Bachelor Boy who's won plenty around there. He was rallying all the way. She was rallying all the way to the line. Frustratingly, maybe up 2, but she has won off 77 in the past. And William Buick, a good jockey booking for this horse.
Yeah, okay. Bill Buick.
Bill Buick.
Yeah. I like to call him Bill.
Right, I'm sure he's thrilled.
Vero Eagle, 2nd last time out. I mean, that wasn't a Class 5, steps up to Class 4 here, but you don't think that'll be an issue, given only beating a nose, I guess?
No, I don't think so, no.
What, Barry, update on the market?
Hasn't changed much. Ex Gracia is still around the 5-2 mark, 11-4 Vero Eagle, Marley Park, Arjad and Dutch Decoy all trading around the 7 mark, and it's 33 Starry Eyed.
I have to ask G-Rod, Ed Dunlop, John Leaper.
Yeah.
Obviously returned to form this week. What did you make of the company? Once hyped as the next superstar, hasn't really gone on, John Leaper.
Yeah, I had a lot of. There was a lot of hype about him. I had a lot of good words about him last year. I can't remember what the exact words were, but someone told me that he would win the Derby. It was close to the yard, and it didn't work out, did it? He was a bit free, wasn't he? A lot of his 3-year-old career. I always felt John Leaper. I'm not sure he's Group 1 material. He might just be short of the top class, but still quite unexposed, isn't he? So we'll find out a bit more about him. I mean, This race, there's loads of all-weather form in this race, isn't there? That's the big question here. Like, how many of these are going to reproduce their all-weather form back on turf? Even in my one, really, Starry Eyes, all its form is on the all-weather. And you look through them, you go, oh, Lingfield, but it's not actually Lingfield turf, is it? It's Lingfield all-weather, and the turf track and the all-weather track at Lingfield couldn't be more different, really, could they? Straight course down the track, isn't it, for sprints at Lingfield, whereas the sprints on the all-weather around the bend. And then, of course, if you're on the round track at Lingfield, you've got that uphill and downhill bend to take, which you don't take on the all-weather. So I always think that unless they've shown they're not as good on turf, I'll give them a chance to show they're as good on turf, if you know what I mean.
Is there a certain all-weather track that you think replicates better to turf than others?
Not really. I mean, I would have thought that now that Southall's gone to Petter, that might be the best, the fairest of them. It's quite a big open track, isn't it, Southall? And I would have thought that might, Wolverhampton sharp left-handed, Kempton sharp Kempton sharp right-handed, and Lingfield sharp left-handed, isn't it? So what's the other one? Newcastle's completely different to the rest, galloping. So I would have thought Southall probably. But it's too early to tell, isn't it, with Southall? It's only been going since December. I did when Southall had their first meeting. I did write a piece straight after it, and got an email from the great Michael Dickinson.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it just said 4 words: "Hi Graeme, we need to speak, Michael." And that was it. Yeah. So he did. He got in touch with me. He called me at home. Yeah, and we had a nice 10-15 minute chat in which he said that he wasn't happy with what I'd written about his Tapeta surface.
What, because were you against the fibre sand going?
Oh, I'd said that it was riding very slowly. It was the first meeting and it was riding very, very slowly, and it wasn't that much different to fibre sand racing. Right. This was the first meeting, of course. And Michael Dickinson was not very happy about me comparing his surface with fibre sand at all. Let's just say that, he was like, fibre sand is, a 4-word expletive that cannot be repeated, and do not compare my surface with that, he said. But he was a lovely fella.
Gee, he didn't want the slogan to Peter just like fibre sand.
No, he hated that. Yeah.
What's your favourite all-weather track?
I don't like Lingfield because that Lingfield track is definitely. It's very difficult to make over trips of 1.25 miles upwards. Really, you need to be coming from off the pace over 1.25 miles upwards. But over shorter trips, you want to be up with the pace because it's quite sharp. But for 1.25 miles upwards, they always fly down the outside at the end. They come wide and then they fly. So probably Wolverhampton I like. Yeah, okay. If you can get into a good position at Wolverhampton, it's pretty fair straight and it's quite a long straight. And, but not a big all-weather player, Danny. I
was going to say, do you get involved much on the all-weather?
No, not if I can help it nowadays. I like going to Kempton actually.
Right.
You will sometimes find me there on a Wednesday night when no one else is there. And it's freezing cold, and
I've done a few of those.
Yeah, I'll be watching. Yeah. But more just for interest and the social really.
Poste, favourite all-weather track?
Favourite all-weather track?
If I had to.
I rode my first ever winner at Southall for Richard Fahey, so on the fibre sand. So maybe Southall always has fond memories. Lingfield, I always thought I didn't have many rides there, but tricky track to ride. Again, a real jockey's track. Those people that ply their trade there on the winter and ride a lot of winners, I think, are always worth following. So, I think Newcastle's a great addition, if I'm honest. Like in his as a track, is a configuration, is a proper racecourse.
It's funny though, isn't it? Because the wind is really strong, isn't it? There, that's what everyone says anyway. The wind's really bad, but it seems to me up the straight, kind of weird things happen.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
Barry, favourite all-weather track, and then a betting update.
I haven't got a favourite all-weather track, Danny.
Barry.
We've only one here in Ireland. It's Dundalk, so I'm not really spoiled for choice there. A betting update. Still the same. Excretia is 3.4, 11 to 4 for Road Eagle. Marley Park 6-8, small few quid for that. Nothing significant though. 7 Arja, Dutch Decoy out to 8 from 7, and it's still 32 starry-eyed.
Barry, you spend much time in Dundalk?
No, as little as possible.
Changing of the guard though, he did well for the form. Obviously, he won at Dundalk early this year, and then
yeah, he did. Yeah.
And then one nicely at Chester.
Yeah.
Out of those 2 O'Brien winners, Star of India and Changing of the Guard, what were you more impressed with?
I like Star of India. I thought that there was a bit more to come, particularly up in trip. Yeah, I thought that going up in trip would really improve when Star of India tackled further.
Devo's been in touch on the social corner. Wolves is unreal. Love the track for punting. I'd probably...
Yes, Devo, I agree with you.
If you're in that, you're right. If you're in the right position at Wolves, you wouldn't want to be last coming into the straight, would you?
No. It's a good place to play in running, actually, if you're playing on the exchange in running, because you really need to be sort of 2 or 3 back, just off the inside or going to come wide as they turn in. And again, you don't want to be going up that dead rail. All those are weather tracks.
Yeah.
Stay away from the dead rail. The rail is always dead. But it's amazing how many jockeys go up the rail.
I know. I mean, yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Well, it's a very good question. I mean, you're the sort of man to make a comment about that, you know. As in, I mean, it is surprising because, like you say, it's not like it's something that varies from meeting to meeting on the all weather. I mean, it is always the worst place to be, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's position Z, and yeah, there was one the other day at Kempton. I was shouting at the jockey because of course the cutaway comes at Kempton, doesn't it? And you're like, oh please don't go up the inside, and then shot up the inside. Looked like I was going to win, and then suddenly hit the quicksand and ended up finishing second. But having said that, I do have a little bit of sympathy for these guys. I mean, they are going around at 40 mile an hour and making a decision like that, aren't they? So.
And sometimes you have to play the card you're dealt, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, if you're following and the cutaway happens and you can only get your run there, I don't know. It's not easy, is it?
No.
2 minutes until the off for this SBK hand at 2:05. What are you? So just a reminder, Marley Park for myself. You're with
Vero Eagle, yeah.
And at a bigger price, G-Rod.
Yeah,
I think 39s on the... gone up to 41 now.
Yeah, I've
Starry
got
Eyes.
16 on Starry Eyes. So, yeah, it's a big drifter. There was a bit of money around for Starry Eyes yesterday, and I thought, well, maybe it's fancied. But, yeah, they don't want it on the exchange. 46 on the exchange now, Starry Eyes. So, huge price.
Anthony Carson, I'm trying to... Some of his stats. Hasn't had a winner since January 2022.
That's right, yeah, he's 0 for 90.
So you're saying about like late money on the exchange being a real positive for you. So the fact this is from a relatively, with the greatest respect to Anthony Carson, a small trainer, the fact that it's drifting now, is that a worry or not?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not particularly hopeful now, I must admit, Poste. Having seen the way this is going in the market, especially in such a small field, you know, I would have liked to have seen a bit more confidence behind Starry Eyes, but well, you never know. I've seen drifters win.
And just on again with exchange, do you get more market confidence from a bigger yard or not? Or does it not really work that way?
I don't really think it matters. Yeah, some yards just aren't punting yards, are they? And some are. So I do like to see that late money. You might. It seems to me that the tactics of the races, right? I can almost tell you what's going to happen in the race tactically by looking at the market beforehand, right?
Okay.
If you see late money coming for a horse, I can tell you that horse is probably going to lead. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Well, Marley Parker's late money for here. Do you think he'll lead?
I have no idea actually, but. I haven't looked at this race.
Barry, do you put much weight behind that? Late money means they'll lead or not?
No,
oh,
none
come
whatsoever.
on, Barry.
No, none whatsoever.
Back me up here.
A lot of. No, not this time, G-Rod. I can't be your wingman on this one. No way. We've had flip-flopping favourites here. Vero Eagle is now your favourite at 3.5. Ex Gracia is out to 4.3. Getting more towards his actual price, really, Ex Gracia, considering it was, a 6 or 7 to 1 chance this time yesterday. Marley Park continues to support into 5.6 now from 7. Same for Arjad. That's the one that there's a sneaky few quid for. Dutch Decoy out to 11 and 44 Starry Eyed. But yeah, Vero Eagle with William Buick is hardening up all the time.
Punters don't really seem to know what's going on here, do they? It's a bit of a watching brief, I think, for a few punters as well.
You put everyone off it, Danny. Tell them it's a useless race.
Well, it is, Barry. Come on.
I mean, you can't have a bet in it.
Well, you can, but I don't really see I think Marley Park is value there. Vero Eagle, he's been given a lot of chances. That would be my only criticism. And Ex Gracia, it's a bit of a could be anything on the turf, isn't it? I think it's a tricky puzzle for punters to solve, Barry. Is that not fair?
Yeah, well, you said it was the worst race ever shown on ITV.
First show. Don't throw me on the bus.
There are a few other
the
contenders.
winning owner doesn't hear that. I hope they don't put up that for our social edits.
There are a few other contenders. I mean, there have been some bad ones. I mean, I remember Barry and I have covered one at Tremor once. Remember that when we did Tremor and everything else was off?
Oh,
remember that?
before
So you
COVID.
bought the whole field for a score, G-Rod, that day.
Let's be positive, lads. You know,
Very moderate
let's be positive.
The only one we haven't mentioned is Dutch Decoy, for the Johnston team?
Yeah. I mean, Ben Curtis riding for Mark Johnston here. So I thought last season that Curtis was going to get a lot of rides to Johnston and he might be able to challenge for the Jockey's title. I did put my money where my mouth is, and after about 2 months, Curtis had about 30 or 40 rides less than some of the championship.
Adrad is literally refusing to move here. Lads on the way down. He's obviously the red hood on that's going to be taken off.
The stall handler's gone to get him and bring him down the other half furlong or so.
Yeah, he's about as lazy as Dave Alton, this one.
Oh, honestly, he leaves me for 1 week and I've got this as well to
Do
fill.
you reckon Dave Alton has to go down to the sunbeds with a red hood on?
Yeah, he needs to be led up. Oh dear.
Just on this bet, so Vero Eagle, pretty solid now. The looks things on the exchange there, Barry, at the minute.
Yeah, 3.3, so 9 to 4. Ex Gracia is now 4.1. It's actually a really lively betting heat, would you believe? There's been money for the top 4 in the market. The only one there's no money for is Dutch Decoy and Starry Eyes. But the other 4 horses have been really, really well supported. And I think at the moment, nearly £500,000 matching this race on the exchange alone.
Jeez.
Bit of market chaos.
I was just going to say, Barry, is that with regard to like quality of racing, does that have a major impact on what would be sort of put on through the exchange or not, or is it just competitiveness of the race?
Charlie, if it's on ITV on a Saturday, you're going to see high numbers. Volume on the exchange is going to be strong, and turnover on Sportsbook is also going to be strong. So, that goes a long way to determining what sort of volume and turnover you have, the visibility, and obviously with it being an ITV race, you're going to see significant increase in that. Like there's already £500,000 in this race match. For a 0 to 80 or something like that in Lingfield, it's a multiple of what you would usually see.
This delay, obviously, the 220 at Ascot will follow quite shortly after Al-Azi, of course, the highlight in that. A good listed event. You're with Al-Azi, aren't you? We'll build up to that race more, but you like the chances today?
Yeah. I think Al-Azi, could pretty much win this pulling a cart on his best form, couldn't he? He's just in a different class to the rest. Why he looked like he'd completely gone at the game, so why have they kept hold of him? They had a big, they got rid of a lot of horses, didn't they? Shadwell lot. So the fact they've kept hold of him suggests to me that I think that Haggis will get him back. And there's a lot of talk about trainers on this show, but William Haggis is one of my favourites.
Top 3?
Oh yeah, he's excellent. And the reason that he's so good is that he. I hate this saying. He knows the time of day. You know what I mean? He can actually tell you how good a horse is, and he's right most of the time. I hate it when trainers can't tell me how good their horse is, or they don't want to tell me.
So finally going in for this 2:05, about 4 or 5 minutes late. Barry, just a final update on the betting before they all go in for this 7 furlong event.
3-2-5 Ex Gracia 4-3, 5-6 Marley Park, Arjad 5-7, and it's 11 bar.
Good luck, Starry Eyes, here for G-Rod, Vero Eagle for Poste. You're with me with Marley Park. Are you here, Barry?
No, I was laying Marley Park then at around 4.0, but he's 5.5. So I just thought that there's no real profit in it to be laying him at that price. Like I said, he is a tricky ride. Spencer's going to have to be very patient with him, settle him early, and hope to come with one run. He wouldn't want to get into a fight, this lad. And I thought if I could lay him at 3-1, he's a lay. I wouldn't be laying him over that.
Anything you do like in it, Barry?
Really, no. I thought for Roe Eagle would go well, and Arjad for Jimmy Queen potentially could go well too.
So the blindfold on Ex Gracia, Tom Marquandon, Jane Tuppelheim, vying for favouritism, along with Vero Eagle. Though Vero Eagle very solid on the exchange now for William Buick and Ed Dunlop. Remember the 220 Ascot. Interesting listed Buckhound Stakes will follow after this 0 to 80. Now 5 minutes late as well.
Yeah, they're struggling to get this one in, aren't they? Ex Gracia don't want to go in at all. Yeah, another lazy one.
Going to lead her in and mount it in the stalls.
Maybe they'll do that thing where they put them in backwards.
No, like Barry said, I think you'll see Tom Marquand get on the side in the stall and they'll try and lead her in without a jockey on. And they're going to try and chase her.
Have you ever tried to do that though before? Put a horse in the stall backwards?
Put him in backwards?
Yeah, you ever seen them do that? They open the front doors and they take them in the front and then they push them in, they sort of, I don't think they push them, but they sort of back them in.
Yeah.
Like reversing a car, you know?
Yeah.
Why would that work?
I mean, by nature, when horses are being awkward, sometimes the easiest thing to do is to sort of change things up, and maybe if you've got horses being difficult to lead, sometimes just making them walk backwards actually has a positive effect to kind of turn their mindset around. So yeah, it's just all trying different things to try and break the pattern. Like here, the more the stall handler's pulling her forward, the more she's wanting to pull back against him. If you can see by what she's doing with her head, stall handlers aren't going to get round the back end because she keeps threatening to kick out. Again, I'd say they had one more go with the blindfold on, and we could end up with a withdrawal here otherwise.
Yeah,
she's moody, isn't she?
Yeah, very.
Be a rule 4 if she comes out. She's right at the head market, and she.
And like you got to commend the stall handlers here. Like she's kicking out, and they're getting hold of her around the back end now, pulling her tail up there just to try and encourage her to go forward, blindfold on. But I'd say she's pretty aware of what's going on.
Looks like
but they've done well there.
They have done well. Yeah, if they get her in, fair play.
Oh.
She has dwelt at the start in her last 2 runs, ex-Gracia, so be interested.
Look at that. I mean, he very nearly got kicked. Fair play to them. Brilliant job.
Great job from the start. It's interesting to see how ex-Gracia does start, having been slow away the last twice, but they're all in. Better this time. Adrad quite slow away. Marley Park, though, under Spencer. So it's going towards the lead here, G.
Yeah, it's going out towards the front, which I don't think was expected. Obviously, the Johnston's... is that the no? Sorry, it's ex-Gracia in front, isn't it? Usually dwells at the start. Is out like a shot and right on that near side rail. Now at Lingfield, that is often the place to be in it, right up against this stand side rail. However, in recent years, you have seen more winners coming down the centre, but looks like all the jockeys want to be on that rail.
Slurry Eyes slightly niggled behind. Vero Eagle still going all right on the rail. In running market here, Barry.
Vero Eagle now is 2.62, 4 ex-Gracia, 6 Marley Park, Arjad 5.4.
So
I think Marley Park might have done a bit too much.
Just approaching the 3 furlong pole, still there, Marley Park and ex-Gracia in front, but William Buick looks to have a lovely posse on that rail if he can just find an out with just over 2.5 to run. Marley Park and still ex-Gracia in front, Dutch Decoy and Adrad trying to make ground for the back of the field. Adrad staying on nicely on the outside here.
It's absolutely wide
Vero
open.
Eagle can't get any room at the end, no room at the end for William Buick. Dutch Decoy now staying on from the back home, being outpaced, and Dutch Decoy's going to go on here with Adrad. Marley Park having a bit of a nightmare. Spencer can't seem to get hold of Marley Park properly, and it's Dutch Decoy for Ben Curtis and the Johnstons who's going on. Ex-Gracia is going to be second. But Dutch Decoy seeing them out strongly. A bit of a mess in behind, isn't it?
Wow.
All finishing
That was a really weird race.
That was a strange contest.
Did Jamie Spencer have...
Spencer was more concerned. Spencer seemed more concerned about William Buick getting a run than anything else.
Did Spencer have handling problems as well, though? Didn't seem to be able to really ride out Marley
He seemed
Park.
to sit up and the horse ran on then.
I mean, Vero Eagle's finished third, lads, and I don't think he's come off the bridle.
I think Vero Eagle would have won that by half the track, wouldn't it, if he'd got a run? I mean, poor old Bill, he's got in all sorts of trouble, hasn't he?
Bill, yeah.
Bit of a mess. 31 races now for Dutch Decoy. That's a 5th career win, but a messy old 205 at Lingfield. But building up now to the 220. Proper race this. Listed contest. Al-Azi is the favourite at the minute. Mandub, Stoll, Third Realm. 2 old pals in universal order. The other runners, obviously, Third Realm won on this day last year when landing the Derby trial at Lingfield. But Al-Azi, we've already touched upon, but you're pretty sweet here, G-Rod.
Yeah, beat the Derby winner, didn't he? Third round last year. Had the into second, wasn't it, at the time? So, I mean, as long as the Al-Azi that puts one hoof in front of the other turns up, he must surely win this race. He's just...
Why?
Because every single piece of his form, bar last time out, is just far and away better than anything else has to offer. The concern is last time out run was absolutely terrible, wasn't it? He's got a right bounce back from that. But like I say, why keep hold of it? They've just got rid of loads of horses.
Barry said, and he'd been gelded. I mean, so yeah, I mean, I suppose he could have been sold for maybe exports to Australia or something like that. But I suppose it's not like he has any value from a breeding perspective or anything like that.
No, but I mean, you could have taken him jumping, couldn't you? What do you reckon? Do you reckon it'd be too expensive to take jumping?
I'm not sure. I'd have my doubts whether he'd fancy it, if I'm honest. You know, as in, I mean, like surely the last 4 starts he must have nearly, traded very short in running. Well, certainly Newbury, Newmarket, and Epsom. I mean, he comes there. I mean,
he traded 100 to 1 on in Epsom.
Is that right?
Nation Cup, and Pile Driver done him.
Yeah.
Okay. 3 out of his last 4 starts, he's traded at 6 to 1 on, he's traded at 100 to 1 on, and he's traded at 5 to 2 on and got beat on all occasions.
So what's your thoughts here then, Barry?
Well, he's definitely a monkey. He's an absolute monkey. They gelded him. They cut him last year, and, his form just dipped massively. They thought that the gelding operation, he was odds on the first time he ran after being gelded, and they thought the operation was going to do the trick for him, put his mind back on the job, and it didn't. It's an interesting one. They're bringing him back. He's 2.32. He had been matched at even money, 4.5 per round. Stell is 5.8 and it's 8.8. Man, dude, I like Stell in a G-Rod. He was third to Max Vega in the John Porter. I backed him that day on the show. He got a really, really, not tender ride, but, it was his first run this season. And I think he's going to benefit significantly for that run. He wasn't hard on him, Frankie Dettori. He's a course and distance maiden winner. And his third in the Vase at the Royal Meeting was a particularly good run. He's got a Hardwick entry as well. I think at 6.4, he represents a bit of value, definitely. So we're going to have 50 quid win on Stell at 6.4. Happy to be a price taker here, G-Rod. Okay. He's 6.6 now, actually. So happy to be a price taker at 6.6.
6.6 it is.
Course and distance winner. Style does look solid. What about yourself here, Posty?
Yeah, I'm following Barry for sure. I mean, I was on the show when he ran at Newbury, and we had a sort of chat about trainers saying that horses might need the run and whether we put much strength behind it, which we all agree we don't. I genuinely do feel though that Stowell looked like he needed the run at Newbury, and I felt Frankie rode him in conjunction with that. That he gave him every chance, but he certainly wasn't hard on him at all, and I think he's going to get further. I mean, as we say, he ran so well in the Queen's Vase, and I think that's advantageous in a race like today, and I think stepping forward, he could just be a 4-year-old that might be upwardly mobile this time round. And like Al-Azi, I just have real concerns about him, and certainly I wouldn't want to be jumping in at the price he is first run back after looking almost regressive through the latter part of the last season.
Okay, after a disappointing couple of weeks for Team Gosden, obviously with Inspiral missing the 1,000 guineas, and then Walk for the Moon now being ruled out of the Derby, but still going to be the selection for Charlie. I'm with Al-Azi. He's £8 clear on official ratings. Gets to race off level weights here. If he's at his best, okay, I know he's been beaten in a Group 1 and a Group 2 by a neck, but I think he's just the best horse in the race, really, if he shows his best form.
Oh, he won't come off the bridle if he can't.
He better not do, because if he comes off the bridle, he'll get beat. That's the truth of it, isn't it? I mean, because he
bang on.
He could win a champion hurdle on the bridle, couldn't he? It'd be brilliant, wouldn't he?
He wouldn't win a Swinton Hurdle, never mind a champion hurdle.
Yeah. I'd say he might take one look at the first and turn around and go the other way.
You him there, Posty, no?
I mean, with his rating, you wouldn't mind giving it a go, but I think you'd be a brave person to say that he's got the resolution for hurdling.
Betting update, Barry?
238 now, Al-Azi, 3.65 third round, Stell 7.84 Mandub, and 23 Bar.
We've got to mention third realm, G-Rod. What do you make of the prospects here for Roger Varian's charge?
Roger Varian has got a great record with these types of horses, hasn't he? Horses over 1 mile 4 upwards. He does very, very well with these types. I did have his stats, they were amazing, particularly in handicaps. He was winning them one after the other, Fujera Prince and horses like that, Ebors. He's going to need to improve though significantly, to get anywhere near the favourite. And I mean, I thought the favourite should be about 2 to 5. I really did. I know it's Al-Azi, but he ain't going to come off the bridle here, surely.
Mandub, I think Brian Meehan was third to Scope. I think Scope is Dave Orton's horse to watch this year, I think.
Right,
so
had a wind up as well.
Yeah, undergone wind surgery. I mean, what do you make of Mandub?
Horse, isn't it? Yeah, Beckett. It's been well tipped up. Is it Siegel has gone for it today, I think. A couple of good judges put him up to me, but he needs to improve again, don't he?
So they're off. Al-Azi slowly away. It looks like third realm might go ahead early, along with Stoll. In the middle is Mandub.
Well, Frankie on the easy lead here.
A sedate gallop, I'd call it.
Or is that
I think it's
Mandub?
Mandub.
Mandub in front.
Mandub, is it? Yeah, it's not Frankie then. Yeah, it's Sean Levy on Mandub in front. Yeah, they're going the same start as last time, Posty, but a lot of them are a bit more settled. I suppose these are old pros, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I think like you say, old experienced horses and just a sensible gallop. I'd have said watching on Sean Levy, he's been able to set his own fractions. Third round bang there with Stoll following on sort of in the box seat, and Al-Azi actually looks like he's switched off pretty well on this comeback run this season.
Mandub obviously already stays 14 furlongs, so we'll definitely make this bit of a stamina test, you think, towards the end. Sean Levy. Stoll going all right in third under Frankie G-Rod?
Travelling, isn't he? Yeah, going nicely. Al-Azi has settled well, hasn't he? He can be a bit keen, can't he, for his races, but he does seem to have settled well. They're going to be coming out Swimley Bottom, going back up the hill now, so won't be too many pulling their way up this hill.
Chuck it in there with a quirky horse, Dane O'Neill. Has he ridden him before or not?
I'm not sure, to be fair.
He's ridden him once, successful at Newmarket by 10 lengths in June 2020.
It's a positive then.
Just you never know with a quirky horse, a change of rider sometimes can have an effect, can't it, sir?
Yeah.
Interesting though that Jim Crowley's gone to Haydock, I thought, to ride a Chartwell horse instead of riding
I
Al
think he didn't fancy it much.
which is a bit strange. But still, it's Mandub in third round, sending good fractures out in front. Frankie Dettori travelling nicely on Stole in third. What's the in-running play here, Barry?
Yeah, Alazi's 10-9 on now, 11-4, 3.75 third round, 11.5 style. The market doesn't like that. Mandub 10.5, but your favourite trading at odds on, and he's in fourth.
Universal Order still going right for the Doiler in fifth. Looks like the outsider, which is indeed 12 pounds. There's a lot to do, but as they turn in,
quickening up a
four
lot,
home,
lads.
3 furlongs to go. Mandub still leads. Alazi still patiently ridden by Dane O'Neill. Third realm and Stole. Now Frankie comes on the outside on Stole. Alazi still looks to be travelling okay, but now Dane O'Neill has to get to work.
For it, is he?
What do you think? He's got to get that gap, hasn't he? Here, Dane.
He's trying to kid him, isn't he? Trying to kid him through the gap. Yeah, he's trying
Goes
to
up the fence.
Yeah, he's
Frankie,
trying to sneak his way there.
Frankie, the Ascot specialist on Stole. Third realm still there pitching. Mandub does stay further.
This is a beautiful ride from Dane O'Neill.
Dane on the inside pitch.
Beautiful.
This looks a brilliant ride on Alazi from Dane O'Neill. And Alazi's going to run out a ready winner of the listed Buckhound Stakes. A fine run in second from Mandub. Tight for third. Looks like third round was just beaten Stole. But a ready success for Alazi. Back to somewhat of his best form.
Monkey. He looked totally straightforward there, didn't he? Reformed character.
That Dane O'Neill just gets a tune out of him, obviously. Yeah. No. It's look, as in it was a. Again, you flagged up William Haggis and what a very good trainer he is, and what they whether it's a drop in grade or what, but Alazi's got a real confidence boosting success here, isn't it? It'll be interesting to see whether he can maintain that progress when one presumes he's going to go up in grade from here.
Lots of promise from Mandub in second, I felt.
Yeah, he was just outclassed, wasn't he? But yeah, he's run a very, very solid race. He's going to be a sort of stay-in type, isn't he? I wonder if they might consider maybe going up in trip with him, because they did try and sort of draw the stamina out of Alazi, didn't they? But I must admit, for halfway up the straight, I thought, he's going to have to work for this. Is he going to go and do it? But there was no questions about the resolution today. That's for sure. He was bang on it today, and Dane O'Neill was quite keen not to give him too much of a hard time, was he? He was just coaxing him all the way up the straight. But when he did get stuck into him, he did go away and win well.
Yeah, no, nice performance. Barry, your reflections?
No.
Really did. He gave him one smack behind the saddle, and that was it. I think he was conscious not to have to get after him too early, if I'm being perfectly honest. The race developed up the centre of the track almost, and he got a solo up the inside. So on ratings, he's done what he's entitled to do, G-Rod, but I wouldn't be waxing lyrical about that performance just yet.
Is he going to be a Betfair Barry Lay next time out? We're on.
Well, he's probably got to the Hardwick, won't he?
Yeah, probably.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
You don't think they'll take a punt at a Coronation Cup again?
Looks hot, Coronation Cup this year, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Got Adayar lining up. There's another good horse in there.
Yeah, who they say was confirmed.
Yeah. Another good one. I can't remember its name. But yeah, Adayar, obviously the star attraction, the Derby winner, going to the Coronation Cup. I don't think he'd be good enough to beat a Derby winner, but strong Derby, wasn't it, as well?
Hang on, is Owen Burrows' horse not going there? Hookham, is it?
Yeah, Hookham, that was the one. Yeah, Hookham. Yeah, so that's in the same ownership.
Well, Chartwell will split them apart, won't they?
Yeah, so they'll keep them
would you
apart.
be keen for a Hardwick bid after that, G-Rod?
Yeah, it's a different sort of race, isn't it? Much stronger race. But on his best form, he's a good horse. Last season, I thought he was certainly going to win a Group 1. He did actually lose his whip there, Dane O'Neill, I think. Oh, no, there it is.
He's got it there.
Yeah. Maybe he went back and picked it up.
But there you go, a classy performance from Alazi to win the Buckhound Stakes. A good run in second from Mandub, who definitely looks one to follow for Brian Meehan, but good to see Alazi back to winning ways for William Haggis in that event. More competitive action still to come. I think we're back to Lingfield next, aren't we, chaps?
Second leg of the Good Thing Double comes up next. And Barry's taking it on, so that's even better.
Barry, give us a little update on the Derby trial market listed event
206 Walk of Stars, United Nations 3.75, 5.6 Natural World, and it's 8 bar. Yeah, I'm taking on the favourite here. Walk of Stars beat half fit a neck in Newbury. Conditions race over a mile 2. Obviously, step up and trip is going to like, but half it let that form down for my money big time in Longchamp after when he went off 7-2 on. They thought the feet was out of the question. He could only finish third in that race there. I thought United Nations will really show the benefit of that run in Epsom. He'll come on a stone for that. So he's not without a chance. And they've carried all before them this week. The combination of Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore. So, yeah, at 204, I'm a layer. It has been as big as 235, so it's been around 11 to 8. Can lay it at even money now. G-Rod, going to look to lay it at 202. We're going to set our own odds here. So you go and click on the pink box, populate it with 202, and that'll go over into the backside. So that'll go over onto the blue column, for someone to come in and lay us that are back with us. Walk of Stars. So we're looking to lay it, so it'll go into the blue column where someone will come in and back it with us at 202. So just over even money, Walk of Stars in my layer. Okay,
Walk of Stars. Laid. Berkshire Rebel obviously didn't do loads for the form either when well beaten behind changing of the guard last time out. What about yourself here? Charlie, start with you this time.
I mean, I've gone with the favourite bet. I mean, all week I was keen on Lionel, if I'm honest, so I'm disappointed to see him taken out this morning. Suppose he hadn't eaten up and had a slight temperature. Be interesting. I think he goes to Goodwood for the Derby trial there, if all's okay. Yeah, it's tentative, really, Danny, like Walk of Stars, because I thought Natural World got a very good ride from James Doyle to win his maiden at Newbury. Had the run of the race in front in the race where Lionel made a lot of late headway from off the pace. And United Nations, Aidan's seemingly have been coming forward massively for the run, but I'd say he needs to, really, in my opinion. So I was with the favourite, but it wasn't a strong selection.
I'm going to be with United Nations. I don't think he actually handled the camber that well at Epsom. I think he got a bit unbalanced and actually did well to finish fourth, having been last approaching the straights. I think, I'm not saying Lingfield's going to play massively to his strengths, but I think with 4 runners, he might be seen to better effect. So I'm going to take a chance on United Nations. What about yourself here, G-Rod?
Yeah, I think the favourite is a good thing, Walk of Stars, Appleby obviously won the Guineas, got all these great 3-year-olds, hasn't he? They were very confident New London was going to win, and he obviously got well beaten behind changing the guard. However, I do think that if they'd front run with New London, if you switch the rides around, I think might have got a different result. I know changing the guard won by a mile, but Ryan Moore was riding the lights out last week when he at Chester. It was absolutely different class, and essentially both of those horses training the guard New London are just slow stayers, aren't they? And I just always thought that New London was going to struggle to come and pick him up. He just didn't have a turn of foot. All he does is gallop. And I thought this horse, Walk of Stars, was a similar sort of type. Obviously, another Dubawi colt. I failed to believe that they've got it that far wrong. You know what I mean? It was 1-3 that New London. They punted him like he couldn't possibly lose.
Yeah.
And I think that they regard this horse in a similar sort of thing, similar sort of vein. His times back up his performances. The form hasn't really worked out that well, but there was only 3 in it, wasn't there? I mean, it was a small field race at Newbury. The time is solid enough. I thought it was a 2-horse race between him and United Nations again, and I just hope that Bill Buick gets a bit more lucky running here, because obviously they made a right old mess of that last race on Vero Eagle, didn't he? But
you can't blame the jockey there, though, can you?
Well,
I mean, he's popped out, he's following down the fence, and it just hasn't opened up for him. I know, but he has, and I mean, he's like, I mean, I backed the horse and was with him, but I don't blame the jockey there. I mean, he
got to find a way out, hasn't he?
But what? How? Like, he had a wall of horse in front of him. It's one of those where you just got to say, well, it just didn't play out for us, did it?
So, I think
given they finished in a heap, I'd probably agree with you there. I think there wasn't really an out, given the way they all finished. There wasn't like
there was just a wall of horse in front of him. Like, there was nowhere he could go without switching 6 wide, and he wouldn't have won anyway. So he sat and suffered, and it just didn't open up.
So I think if he came in, I was the trainer, he came in and said that to me, I'd be like, oh, rubbish.
Walk of Stars currently 7-1 with Betfair for the Derby. The favourite still is Luxembourg at 6-1. What did you make of Aidan O'Brien, though, coming out very honestly and openly and saying there's been an issue? You know,
great,
that's what punters need to hear, isn't it?
Yeah, we like to be informed, don't we, punters? And deservedly so, I think. You know, punters are just as important as many other people in the game, and I like it when trainers are completely honest like that. G-Rod called Barry out on Luxembourg doing the Triple Crown. He was very smug about that. Call him out on it. Okay, Barry, what happened to Luxembourg?
Don't have me cursing now, G-Rod. Don't have me cursing. I asked you on this show what price you would lay me Luxembourg to do a Triple Crown, and you quoted me 10-1.
I think I said 12. I'm sure I said 12.
No, you said 10. You can go back and watch it, G-Rod. You said 10-1, and I said you'd want to put a 0 on the back of that.
Yeah, but I think straight after that race, right?
Yeah.
No, straight after that chat, I think your traders priced it up and they went 16s.
No, it was 16 going into that, yeah. Yeah, it was 16 beforehand.
So I weren't that far off.
And what is, in terms of the Derby pitch, though, obviously muddies the water, having a favourite which is 50-50.
Yeah.
Could Walker Stars become favourite if he wins impressively?
And the worry, of course, would be not only like if he makes it, like what sort of shape's he going to get there in? You know, if he's had a setback, would it be a huge?
Who, Luxembourg?
Yeah, Luxembourg. Is he going to be able to get him there in peak condition?
It all depends how quickly he recovers from whatever it is. You know, I mean, you miss a few days of work and it shouldn't be a big problem with him already having had a prep run in the Guineas, you know?
Yeah.
As in, if you were going there first time, it might be more of a effect. But once you start missing more than a week, I think it becomes difficult when you're dealing with such a short window of time, aren't you? I mean, that's the thing about it. I mean, even now, what are we, 4 weeks out?
Yeah, just about 4, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't want to be missing too much more than a week.
Well, they said that he looked very hard fit for the Guineas. So,
and that's your advantage, the fact that he is fit with a run. But it's still got to be a concern when you're going into a race like that.
Would you, Barry? Would you have still been with him in the Derby without the setback if he got there?
Was I still fancying him? Yeah, because the Derby looks such an ordinary race, doesn't it? This year, like you're grappling trying to find something to hang your hat on. Like that run in the Guineas was a decent run, G-Rod, over a mile for a horse that having his first run this season and is crying out for a trip. But when you look at the Derby picture now, changing the guard 7-1, Star of India 10-1 chance. They've both won their trials. You've Walk of the Stars here 7-1. Piz Badil, that's a horse that I've plenty of time for. But whether he can win the Ballysax and go straight to the Derby and win that remains to be seen. And outside of them, Janie, you've Iden in there that ran in the Guineas as well, ran respectably and finishing, what was he, 4th or 5th? He's a 14-1 chance. Point Lonsdale, 16-1. Buckaroo, 20-1. Buckaroo, actually, Pisbadale beat that in the Ballysax, and he's gone on and kind of franked that form. But I don't know, it's such a murky picture at the moment, the Derby picture. And Luxembourg, if he's a fit Luxembourg and he gets there in one piece, he's going to be a 2-1 chance.
I think the thing I liked in the Guineas, though, when you see his Vertem Futurity win, I thought he didn't really want to go on and do with it. He was a bit high head carriage, whereas I thought he really knuckled down. Obviously, he stumbled at the start, but he looked like he's actually matured over the winter as well, Luxembourg.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Hugh Mason from the Social Corner has been in touch. Really like Walk of Stars, but he's been green in his last 2 wins. Not sure Lingfield will be his track, G-Rod.
Keith Melrose actually wrote an interesting piece, I don't know if you read it, about the camber climbs between Lingfield and Epsom and how much less climbing and descending was done at Lingfield relative to Epsom. If you know, so, I mean, I think I got the gist of the piece was that Lingfield actually isn't as undulating and trappy as Epsom certainly is.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. Obviously, there is the similar sort of Tattenham Corner style hill where they come down the hill and then swing left-handed. But apart from that, it's mainly flat.
But there's nowhere near as right to left camber on the straight, is there? Anything like that?
Yeah, that's difficult, isn't it, Epsom? It's a good test for Walker Stars, isn't it? You know, if he's been green and he's looked inexperienced, this is why they're running him in this trial. That's what trials are for, isn't it? And you hope that he's going to pass the test with flying colours. But even if he doesn't pass the test with flying colours, that doesn't mean he can't win the Derby. Look at what happened last year with Adayar. He got beat here before again going on to win the Derby. So today isn't the day, is it? The day is at Epsom in 4 weeks' time. That's when they're going to want to have him absolutely spot on. And I suppose that is a consideration if you want to take short odds about him. I just think that he might be better than these, though.
Out of Changing of the Guard and Star of India, though, you were more impressed with?
Yeah, I like Star of India.
Star of India.
I thought that going up in trip, he had a lot more to come. Changing of the Guard looks like a slow stayer to me, and so does New London. You'll see them in the Ledger. I'm almost certain they'll both be in the Ledger.
In the Derby first, though, or not?
Yeah, probably give him going to Derby. O'Brien loves to, he's got nothing to lose, has he? Got all these good 3-year-old colts by Galileo will stay well, and might as well run them all and see which ones you can turn into a sire. That's essentially what it's all about, isn't it, for him?
Very much, yeah.
I guess Desert Crown will be interesting next week. Obviously, hot favourite for the Dante for Sir Michael Stout.
Yeah, it's great to see Sir Michael Stout, isn't it? With a big big hope. Because some of the Shadwell horses didn't go back to Stouts, did they?
None of them. Yeah. Off the roster. So I'm just thinking, if you look round, I mean, Westover won the trial at Sandown, but I'm not sure about the strength of that form.
He travelled well that day, Westover, but he was getting caught near the line, wasn't he? I think the runner-up were quite hopeful they might reverse the form next time if they raced against each other.
Betting update here for this 240, Barry?
Yeah, so 202 for Walk of the Stars, the price that we requested to lay it at, and we've been matched 3.9 United Nations, 8.2 Natural World, and Zachariah 7.6.
We should mention the other two. Obviously, Natural World was successful when beating Lionel at Newbury last month, but Lionel did look the one to take out of the race. I know he's not running now, but if they were gonna meet again, you probably would be with Lionel, wouldn't you have been?
I mean, for me, yeah. I mean, and look, whether you could argue that, I mean, Lionel still looked very unfurnished in both his runs at Newbury in the autumn and in the spring. Slotted in, had to almost switch right the way round all the horse and finished off better than anything. He looks like he's got a big engine, but I'd imagine if you're David Minutier, if you genuinely got Derby aspirations, you must be desperate to get another run into him. But I just thought on that day at Newbury, James Dorr gave the Natural World a very good ride. He was.
Someone described Spencer of having taken a day off that day on Lionel. It wasn't his finest hour. Yeah, I mean, he gets a lot of stick, Spencer, doesn't he? But he's a great rider.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. He is a great rider. He just he sometimes overdoes it a little.
But does he, or does he sometimes maximise horses to run above where they should? That's the argument, isn't it?
It's a very fine line.
Of course it is, but whether he is just.
It just looks bad sometimes, Charlie, and the uninitiated and people who are talking through their pockets are unfairly like those. A lot of those horses have ran above what they should rightly have ran. If he had made more, if he had ridden them differently, they mightn't have finished even as close as they have sometimes with him on the plate. He gets unfair criticism sometimes.
Completely agree, and I can see why people literally are jumping out of their chair to go mad at him. But like I say, I think when you reflect on it at times, he's more for me a rider that gets horses to overachieve without winning than maybe he does cost horses not to win personally.
And he's done well.
Tactics here. What are we thinking, lads?
Well, Jack Mitchell's interesting. Big ride for him.
Good chance for him.
Does he go on Natural World?
Surely he will go forward. I mean, it seemed to work very well for the horse at Newbury. The only thing I would say is, if you're William Buick, you're going to be wary about giving him too much rope. And again, I'd have thought Ryan the same. Do you not think, Barry?
Yeah, is Spencer not riding Natural History now?
Oh, sorry.
No, Jack Mitchell. I have Spencer as riding Natural History on the site.
On the post, I've still got
Mitchell.
I've
still got Jack Mitchell on mine in front of me.
It says Jack Mitchell on the post, but on our site it says Jamie Spencer for some reason. No, I could be wrong now. The Betfair website could be wrong, as opposed to the paper of record. So, we just try to get a look at them and let people know. But favourite just taking a little bit of a slide out to 214 now. So a little over 11 to 10 United Nations, 355, 7-8 Natural World. And 7-4 Zachariah continues to come in for support with Tom Marquand.
What do you make of Zachariah here, Barry?
Can't really have him if I'm being brutally honest. But I'd like to see him run well. Obviously, we've laid the favourite at evens. And so we've the field running for it at even money. And obviously, he's one of those three. So I wouldn't be upset to see him win.
Beat Westover in September, but then well beaten in the crate. Well, 6 3/4 over probably an inadequate trip last time up for Zachariah.
Natural World, since he had his hood removed, is playing up big time. Is it Spencer? No, it's not, is it?
No,
it's Jack Mitchell.
It's Jack Mitchell, yeah.
Yeah, he was only a quarter of a length behind Star of India in the Craven, Zachariah. And of course, the winner was second in the Guineas, wasn't he? I was a bit underwhelmed with the 2000. I know a lot of people were waxing lyrical about how good it was, but I'm not sure it was a great race.
There was talk about if you changed the draw for the first and second, it'd be a different result. Do you buy into that or not?
No, I don't agree with that. I think that the winner won well, but I'm not sure that he's an absolute champion. We're going to find out, obviously, in time. But I think because going in, people thought it was a strong race, and then the right horses filled the first three places, didn't they? Courageous. People automatically go, oh, that's a strong Guineas. I'm not sure it was. I did like the filly. I like the filly, Cachet. I thought she looked really good. George Bowie's horse.
Looks like what they're doing there. Do you think Poste
retacking? I would say what's happened when Natural World has leapt backwards and away. Jack Mitchell's shift of balance has maybe just moved the saddle slightly. So in a race, any race, he wants to make sure it's back exactly where he wants it. So I think they just took the overgirth off, straightened the saddle back up and girthed him back up, and we're good to go. So fingers crossed he will go forward and consent to walk in without misbehaving this time.
Yeah, they're all taking it quite well, though, aren't they? They're considering they're inexperienced 3-year-olds. None of them are really getting
not at all.
up,
yeah,
are they? That's a good sign.
Like a lamb there.
Yeah, good time for Epsom, isn't it? If these are going to Epsom for their temperaments.
Anthony van Dijk, the last horse to complete the Derby trial Derby win here. And of course, I think 1998 High Rise. I think there's one before that. But looking at some of the recent winners, English King, another well-hyped.
What a flop he was.
Disappointed.
Yeah.
Night to Behold, Harry Dunlop. That was just a horse that pulled like a cart. Best Solution, Snows. Main Sequence, I guess, was second to Camelot, I think 2012.
Yeah,
but
I'd say that's a good shout, yeah.
just about all in for
yeah.
this Derby trial.
Oh,
Walker Star's a favourite.
Well,
Slightly slow away.
Yep, slowly away.
Do you reckon Ryan Moore wants to try and lead, try and do what he's done all week at Chester?
There's a lot of pace on. Good battle up front.
What's the latest in running, actually, Barry? Be interested, given the slow start.
Favourite went to 6-4, 2-5-6 off the back of that slow start. United Nations 3-3, Natural World 5-8, and 6-6 Zachariah. So, yeah, they're going a good clip here.
Is Jack Mitchell under strict instructions here to make sure that Ryan
funnily
doesn't
though,
get an easy
like
one?
Walker Stars got caught flat-footed initially and had to be chased away from the store showing Guineas, and now he's got really lit up and he's half tanking with William Buick. I
would be seriously concerned if I was on Walker Stars here, but what do I know?
4 now, Walker Stars, 6-4 United Nations in running.
It's not going ideally, is it? If like me, you're on the favourite, but that doesn't mean he's not going to win, of course.
United Nations and Zachariah both have settled quite nicely. What about the fact? What do you make of Natural World out in front?
Well, I mean, they had a bit of a speed duel early on, didn't they? And Jack Mitchell sort of won that contest with Ryan Moore, and I think at the moment he's in a nice rhythm as we sort of what are we through 7 furlongs of this contest. Walker Stars now on a much more even keel, and I'd say William Buick is feeling a lot more content than he was sort of a couple of furlongs ago.
What's that done to the in running here, Barry?
Yeah, not much difference now. It's your favourite Walker Stars is 2.38 now, 2.8 United Nations, changing all the time. 6.8 Natural World at 6.6 Zachariah. So they're all in with a shout, and they're turning into the straight 3.5 furlongs to go.
Now they're coming down the fake Tattenham corner.
Getting
Here we go.
The business end. Let's see how they handle it.
Favourite not handling the corner, great.
No. Natural World though, out in front, still freewheeling.
Loving it.
Yeah, he's enjoying himself, the leader, yeah.
Ryan Moore yet to push the button. Now he just starts to get to work on United, but the Natural World has quickened away there. And the other three look to be in trouble here. Jack Mitchell says go, and Natural World goes on.
I think he's
Walk
going to
of
stop,
Stars struggling.
Who's on United Nations?
United Nations trying to stay on.
5-2 on United Nations.
Walk of Stars looks a difficult
Evens
ride,
your
doesn't
pick
he?
now.
Yeah, it's hard work.
Evens your pick.
God, it's going to be who stays the strongest.
United Nations, Walker Stars staying on.
Oh, he's going all
Natural
over the
World
shop.
on the rail looks, it's still out in front, but United Nations towards the middle. Walker Stars is still there for William Buick, but a little bit of
interference. Not going to go by
interference.
Ryan Moore to form.
United Nations out in front, Walker Stars staying on. United Nations all out, holds on Walker Stars. Natural World check well, but Walker Stars, he's then wandered towards the stand side rail. Looked a very, very difficult ride for William Buick. Has arguably done well to finish as well as he did. But Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore complete the D Stakes Chester Vase and now a Lingfield Derby trial treble. United Nations keeps the peace. G-Rod.
Yeah. I don't think we've seen a Derby winner there. I'm disappointed with Walker Stars. He didn't really race. Didn't race, did he? In strategy, he didn't seem keen to go and eyeball the favourite. I mean, I thought here, about 2 furlongs out, he had every chance, and I think Barry said at one point it was evens each of 2, and.
Before he bumped him,
he's just gone and got outstayed and outbattled by the O'Brien horse, who is a typical, straightforward, Ballydoyle type staying horse, isn't he? And I think you got to be. I mean, but Charlie Appleby will be hugely disappointed, won't he? He's come into this week with 2 really strong Derby chances, hasn't he?
I mean, United Nations, you'd imagine he's going to take his chance in the Derby now, isn't he? He's going to be one of probably half a dozen that Aidan's going to run.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised. Do you reckon we'll see Walker Stars in the Derby? I think he did a lot wrong there. I mean, he was slowly away, then he over-raced, he fell round the turn, and then up the straight, he didn't know whether he wanted to go left or right. He looked very, very mentally raw and immature to me. I'd have thought the King Edward the 7th or whatever it is at Royal Ascot would be a more obvious fit for him at this stage of his life, you know, as in... if he went to Epsom, I couldn't have him on my mind.
No, he needs more time, doesn't he?
Definitely. I mean, look at him here. Like when we're just getting the replay back. I mean, they've gone quick enough early. I mean, but in the Derby, he'd be readily outpaced from the word go.
Slowly away, wasn't he? He did everything wrong.
He's got an engine.
Massively. And so if you're looking for positives, like he's done 4, 5, 6 things wrong throughout that race, and he's still only been beat half a length. He looks a big, huge horse as well. A lot of scope for the future, but I'd have thought in the immediate future, he doesn't look to me like a Derby horse.
Natural World obviously looked at one point like it could have it sewn up. The only concern I did have coming into the race was stamina. I think at the end, behind that with the Lionel race, looked like it was just coming towards the end of its tether. The other two were closing. I don't know, maybe a drop back to 1 mile 2 is probably preferable.
Yeah, was he there just to spoil? He certainly didn't let Ryan Moore have an easy lead, but it didn't make any difference in the end because Ryan still won it. But that's the way things are going for Ryan this week, isn't it?
United Nations out of Galileo, 7th-fold brother to a Danish listed winner, Christmas. But well done to Barry as well. Well done, Barry. Your lay, Walk of Stars.
Good shout.
Yeah, we took that on. Winners 10 from 25 for the Derby.
Oh, I wouldn't be taking 10s.
We're crying out for a Derby horse now, aren't we? give
One,
us a star.
3, 4. 4 of the first 6 are Aidan O'Brien horses. Luxembourg, Changing of the Guard, United Nations, Star of India.
If
And you've
Luxembourg
a maiden winner in there. Sorry?
I was going to say, if Luxembourg doesn't run, Barry, who does Ryan ride, do you think?
The tricky one. The whole world wanting to know that. For now.
Even looking at this head on in a minute when this Walk of Stars just very quickly jinx just before I hand back to Barry.
That's
But
the
just
thing,
there.
isn't it, Charlie? He's such a good judge.
Yeah.
You know, he's such a good judge. I haven't ridden them in all their trials as well. That whichever one he picks, you think has to be the right one, don't you?
100%. I mean, I really think he's
No, he's got it wrong before.
yeah.
But when you look at it, like Luxembourg apparently is head and shoulders above all the other 3-year-old colts down there. So fit Luxembourg, there's no doubt what he'd ride. But if Luxembourg doesn't run, I don't think there's a whole lot between any. Like none of them have been outstanding in their trials, and you couldn't say any one trial has been a really, really top-notch race, could you?
Not for 1 second. No, I completely agree.
Stone Age tomorrow, the latest one off the O'Brien cab rank. I think that goes in the 4:35. 12 to 1 at the minute with Betfair, Barry.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, he's a 12 to 1 chance. Interesting. Point Lonsdale at 16 to 1. He's interesting as well if they step him up to the 1.5 miles. I'd see it myself, but who knows? It's such a murky picture at the moment, the Derby. It really, really is. Nothing's really stamped themselves bar Luxembourg with his run in the Guineas, and obviously he's question mark over his participation at the moment.
G-Rod, I asked you one that you were most impressed with before at Chester. Now we've added in that winner there. You'd still say Changing of the Guard out of that trio?
Star of India,
Star of India
for me. Yeah, I mean, I think that I wouldn't have thought we'd have seen a Derby winner out of any of them. But on what we've seen so far, there's not that many good Derby horses around, is there? So
someone's going to have to win it.
Someone has to win it.
After you,
I think what you can say is they all look tough and hardy with good minds, don't they? As in that they've all put in likeable performances without anything looking outstanding.
Yeah, I mean, Aidan O'Brien's going to be absolutely delighted, isn't he? After the Guineas, 2 Godolphin horses, first and second, and with Luxembourg in third, and everyone was thinking this is going to be Godolphin's year. And then suddenly you get three Derby trials, and O'Brien wins them all, including beating 2 very short-priced Godolphin horses. Couldn't make it up, could you? It'll be a good season.
Now got the hot favourite for the Oaks trial with Emily Dickinson coming up. 3 o'clock at Haydock. It's going to be next to us. Very quickly though, Poste, out of those 3, what one caught your eye the most of those O'Brien trio?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably the horse that won the D Stakes, whose name now escapes me.
Star of India.
Star of India. I think I'd be agree with G-Rod there. But like I say, I just think they all look likeable colts. As in and you could see almost any of them sort of being a ledger horse beyond it as well. But maybe that's going to be good enough right now, and unless something, unless Luxembourg gets there in peak form or Stouty's horse rises above, it looks a very open race, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's wide open. But that's why we've got all these trials coming up, isn't it? We've got York coming up next week. Obviously, we're going to see the Dante, and there's still that one at Goodwood, isn't there?
The Cop Tat.
Yeah, and we've got the Derrinsdown.
We've got Lionel, maybe he goes to.
Does he go for?
Well, that's what he was saying today, David Minutier. He said that as long as he comes out of this temperature and that he didn't eat up this morning, he didn't eat his breakfast, that's where he'd go next.
We're changing it up now here on RP Live. We now go over to the Swinton Hurdle. Back to the jumps here. Barry, we'll start with you. Ultra competitive. What do you make of this contest and who do you like?
I resent the idea that we had to go and look at after, studying up all that flat racing, we could go and look at this race. And it's a race I hate because I never managed to do anything right in it. Laid the winner for the Max last year, and he absolutely slooshed him. One of Ollie Murphy's, wasn't it? Won this last year?
Coppolus.
I'm almost sure it was. Huh?
Coppolus, yeah.
Yeah, and I laid it and it absolutely slooshed it. The one I do like in it, though, is Miss Heritage, the filly that beat Miranda by 15 lengths in Donny on her last run. Thought that was really good. Now, that was the first time she had a bit of good ground all year. Now, it's officially good to soft up there. I'd say, if anything, it's the good side of that as well. So, Miss Heritage, for me, she's in off 134 here. I think she got £7 for winning that race she got £7 for winning the race in Donny. So, I thought she could go well for Lucy Wadham. Currently on the exchange, G-Rod is trading at 23. So what we'll do is we'll have 25 quid on at 23. Happy to be a price taker here. And then in the place market, you can bet your standard place terms here, which is 4, or you can bet 3 places or 5 places. We're going to look at the 5 place market, where she's currently trading at a little over 2 to 1. And we'll have a 25 on her at 2 to 1 as well in that 5 place market on the Betfair Exchange.
Okay, Miss Heritage. I actually like the chances, I think, as well, of Miss Heritage. I'm going to be with Luttrell Lad, though, for Philip Hobbs. Thoroughly unexposed here. Off 135. Second to JPR1 and Camperond, of course. Camperond, Frank the Form, with a good performance at the Punchestown Festival. And I think now pitched into handicap company could be of interest. But I think Miss Heritage, with the ground in her favour, is another to note. Charlie, just want to get your selections, obviously, now as we're talking the jumps. Shaving. A half-sister to Allaho. You've been involved in the last couple of weeks. She's been with you at the minute.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, we had a sent down from a guy called Will Kinsey, who actually is from they own Stormy Island, where they had her with Willie this year, and he sent her down, and she's been doing a bit of sort of pre-training with us. I think she's going to go over to Willie's in the autumn, and she's a really likeable filly by Spanish Moon. I mean, look. We were saying before the show, it's maybe a bit of a poison chalice having a relative like Allaho, because whether she can amount to anywhere near his level, I'm not sure. But she's really athletic. She jumps very well, and it's going to be intriguing to see how she gets on. And fingers crossed, she's a star of the future, you know.
But as you say, showing the right signs at home.
Very much. I mean, good temperament, lovely athletic mover. And right now, with what we do, that's what you're looking for. As in people that try and tell you that they always knew they were going to be a star, and that I think are very much telling fibs, you know, as in what you're looking for is negatives, and she's got, and when there aren't any, she's got a good temperament, she's a good mover, she jumps well, and she's doing all the right things now. So fingers crossed she gets a bit of luck in life with physically, and she goes on to I mean, I suppose from the boys' point of view, even if she wins a race or two, it makes her a very valuable broodmare with the exploits of her brother, who's probably the outstanding jump horse at the moment.
Yeah, Allaho, yeah, he is, isn't he? Those string of ones that he's got by his name, over 2.5 and now 3 at Punchestown. Love to see him in a Gold Cup.
I thought that was a phenomenal performance at Punchestown.
Yeah, brilliant.
I think there was a picture someone put up of all the horses in behind and what they'd won.
Yeah.
King George's, Gold Cups, and kind of he made them all look ordinary.
Well,
but
half a mile out, he had
know.
them all absolutely beat silly, didn't he? And it was to Clanders Obo's credit that he managed to keep plugging on, because it was the winner first, and the rest of them were out with the washing. And like you say, they were some pretty well-established names.
It's scary how relentless he is. He just seems to keep finding, jumps with aplomb. There's no real negatives.
He's better going the other way.
He is definitely, yeah. And like you say, he kept shifting left at Punchestown and still just finding that relentless rhythm. It's must be so hard to ride against him, because if you take him on, you can't really win, because you're going to burn your own bridges, and then if you give him too much rope, you're never getting back to him. So a phenomenal horse, really talented.
Back to this 3 o'clock, the Swinton. Severance, I think, is the favourite at the minute, Barry.
Yeah, it is 6, just ahead of West Cork, 6.4, 7.4. Anna Benina, the Scottish champion hurdle winner, 7.6. Luttrell Lad, Comier, 9.6. Milkwood, 16.5, and it's 20 odd. Bar the rest of them. Yeah, it's obviously, as you'd imagine, it's a really competitive betting heat. And on the Betfair Sportsbook here, they're betting 5 places to each way punters on the Sportsbook in the Swinton.
Poste, who'd you like?
I'll be honest, I didn't expect him to be favourite, but I'm with Severance.
Okay.
You know, again, we said about the winner from last year, Coppolas, who ran in the Conditional Jockeys Amateur race at Aintree and fell travelling well. And Severance finished second to Hacker de Place up there. He beat a length. Second run after the wind up as well is an angle that I like. Ben Pauling recently has moved into his new yard, which looks a state-of-the-art, fabulous facility, and the horse have been flying along since he's gone there. And in a very open contest, I very much respect the Scottish champion hurdle form with Anna Benina, West Cork, and Milkwood, I think, could improve. But I was siding with Severance, but like I say, being honest, I didn't expect to see him 4-1, 7-2 favourite.
Okay, Ben Pauling, as Poste said, absolutely flying. What about yourself, G-Rod?
I thought that the Scottish champion hurdle form was the line to be with. I just went for West Cork to reverse the places with Anna Bonina, who obviously won that race. I think that West Cork is very reliable in this sort of race. You know, he's run all the big gigs, hasn't he? The Great Wood, he ran in the big one at Ascot, the Betfair
Exchange,
Exchange,
yeah.
And the big one at Cheltenham, the County Hurdle, and the big one in Ayr. He loves big field, strong pace, 2-mile hurdles. He turns up for them and he runs well in every single one. And I just thought he was guaranteed to go well here, West Cork.
Okay, West Cork's going to be the pick for my man. Looks, Trevor Meeks has been on touch. Looks like you need a front runner at Haydock today. Nothing seems to come from behind from what I've seen today. Obviously, we've been watching the ITV stuff, but that's interesting to hear, G-Rod.
Yeah, do you think sometimes, Posty, does that get in jockeys' heads? Oh, everything's winning from the front. Oh,
I think if you're seeing patterns sat in the weighing room, then it has to become a factor. I mean, look, we haven't been seeing the race in Haydock. This race is normally run at a relentless gallop, if you know what I mean. As in, I'd be very surprised if we're going to see a lack of early fractions here. And if you're following through, like it looks like West Cork, Milkwood, Comier are all going to do. I can't see it being a major disadvantage because, I mean, we're looking at them walking around. We've got 8 across the track at the moment, and a lot of that will be jockeys just wanting to get a positive early slot, you know.
Just reading the notes from that 225, the long distance, Maidel, Romeo Brown at 20-1. So I guess that's what people are suggesting. But it's an interesting race. Quick little final betting update, Barry.
We have the Severance is 6, West Cork, Anna Bonina 8, 7-8, Lutra Lad, Comier 9.8, and it's 15 bar.
Okay. What chance do you give Cormier here, G-Rod? I thought maybe had a bit of a chance on the pick of the best form.
Yeah, I thought that he was very similar type to West Cork, isn't he? You know, he turns up in all these big gigs and runs well in a lot of them. He likes the ground. I just thought that he was slightly below West Cork in terms of ability. I thought West Cork was probably the more talented horses out of the pair. But
why should he reverse the form with West Cork?
Well, I couldn't see a reason why he should.
From the county?
No, I couldn't see a reason why he should. But I suppose you could argue if West Cork runs below par, he's had, 2 fairly quick races by his standards, hasn't he? I mean, he's been lightly raced in recent years, hasn't he, West Cork? So there's a chance he might run below par, but let's hope not.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
A couple of others quickly, Posty, Milkwood and Herbier.
Milkwood, I thought, ran a lovely race at Ayr, and if he comes forward for that, you know, on the back of, I think he's off a similar mark to Galway, a pound higher, he must have every shout. And who else? Herbier ran very well at Cheltenham. Toby Wynn rode him that day, talented £7 claimer, and Craig Nicol back on board. I wouldn't see that as a major positive. I mean, Craig Nichol's a very good rider, but I think Toby Wynn is excellent value for his £7.
Okay. So just quick one then, Barry, just before they go off. A couple of seconds before the off.
Yeah, Severance still your favourite. 6-2, 6-6 West Cork, Anna Bonina and Lutra Lad, both 8, 10 Comier, 13.5 Sebestival, a horse that we've seen chasing recently. He reverts the hurl. Some money knocking around for him now because he has been matched at a high of 22. And he's into 13.5 now, so he's a positive for Stan Shepherd.
That was going to be one I was going to ask you about, actually. Sebastopol obviously has been chasing, but he can be a tricky customer.
Not for me. I mean, I think if they go very quick, I could see him not really enjoying it. The one thing in his favour is if he can keep tabs, he will stay well, and he could be seeing it off well at the end. But I'd be surprised if he's quite mad enough for a contest like this.
Anna Bonina, Giro. My only thing was I don't think mares have got a fantastic record in the Swinton.
No, I wonder how many have run. Maybe not those. They're off.
Here we go for this 3 o'clock. Into the lead is the ultra-progressive C the Sea, a big price here for Peter Kavanagh and Donald McCain. Severance also in a nice posse early, Charlie, as they approach the first.
Yeah, very happy. I mean, Keelan Woods, well, from what some of the viewers have said, up there is the place to be at Haydock, and he's got a really good slot as they run down towards the second, Danny.
West Cork in towards the back of the field at the moment, G-Rod,
Yeah,
but we'll be ridden with restraint, you think, anyway.
Yeah, always is. It was a little bit keen going into the first, got in a bit deep to it, and now he's settled down. So, I think they're going at a fairly good pace, aren't they? We've seen a lot of 29 miles an hour over jumps this year. And I know, of course, this is faster ground than we were running on in midwinter, but they're clocking along at 33 mile an hour at the moment.
Yeah, no real mistakes early. Miss Heritage also nicely positioned under Tom Cannon here, Barry.
Yeah, it seems to be. From an in-running point of view, Danny, there's no real change. They're all travelling well in themselves. Nothing really developing just yet. 5.8 Severance, 6 Anna Benina, 7 Luttrell Lad. He's come in from 10, I suppose, in running. He's the only decent mover at this stage. But like I said, they're not going any great pace, are they? Or 32 miles an hour according to the clock, G-Rod.
Yeah, you're right. That's quite high, isn't it?
But see,
yeah, it's our average for this show.
Rattling along.
See the Sea, though, setting a good tempo out in front. Cabo Cliffs in second. Ngolo, formerly trained by Willie Mullins, and now with Anne Duffield in third. But Severance does look to be well positioned at the minute, Poste, under Keelan Woods.
Yeah, I'm very happy. Anna Benina just tracking her. The one thing I thought about Anna Benina, the Scottish champion hurdle, I thought Sean Bowen gave her an excellent ride that day, and whether not having him on her back is a negative.
As they go over the next. All just pretty solidly positioned. The only one who's going out towards the left-hand side of our screen is Peltwell at the minute, G-Rod, under Tom Skew.
Yeah, they're starting to bunch up now. Maybe they've just slowed it down a little bit. We've got some interruption in the pictures. Let's hope that they come back soon. Oh, they're all over the next anyway.
Looks like there was a mistake there, what we did see from Cormier at the back of the field.
A little bit of a gremlin in the system there. But they're all still going well, but they're bunching right up. Could be some trouble in running. Oh!
Sebastopol. Luttrell Lad is struggling at the back of the field. Milkwood at the minute is dead last on the rail, and Tunes being pushed along. But still see the Steelies. But you have to say, West Cork, Anna Benina and Severance all travelling
all the big guns are going well. Herbiers are going well.
Miss Heritage still involved as well. What's the in-running at the minute here, Barry?
Yeah, you're 7-2 West Cork, same price Anna Benina. She travels well. 6.8 Severance, 12 Sebastopol, 9.6 Milkwood. 9.6 Milkwood, and he's stone cold that. Well, he was last. He's making a bit of a move now.
Turning in. Harry Skelton goes well. 4 furlongs to go. A couple of hurdles still to jump. Anna Benina travelling powerfully. But Severance now hits the front along with Ngolo. Still going well here, Posty.
Yeah, going very nicely. And wing that
Cork
hurdle came up out of his hands. West Cork down, lads. Cormier badly hampered on seats.
Fingers crossed everything's OK with West Cork and Harry Skelton. A nasty fall, and Cormier then brought down. But as they approach this second last, I think it's still Severance out in front. Anna Benina, another fall back in the field is Milkwood. Thankfully, he's up, but Severance leads. Ngolo has run a storm for Anne Duffield. Still, as they come to the final, Ngolo and Severance go on. Ingleby Hollow coming through for third.
Ngolo, lads.
But it's going to be Ngolo. What a performance this has been from the Grey. For Anne Duffield, a massive price. Gavin Sheehan, but Ngolo's going to roll back the years. Formerly very, very smart for Willie Mullins. Now transferring to Anne Duffield. It's going to be a first win on British shores for Ngolo, who runs out a ready winner, this son of Galileo the Grey. There's not another horse in the sight here. Ngolo springs a shock. Severance in second. Looks like Sebastopol's run on for third. Ingleby Hollow in fourth. And I think in fifth place was Anna Benina. Ngolo. Bit of a turn-up, G-Rod.
Yeah, didn't see that one coming, Danny, that's for sure. That was one easy as well, isn't it? I just hope that Harry Skelton's OK, because he took a kicking, didn't he, from Cormier, who I think ended up getting brought down. Let's hope that the horses and riders are OK from that race, because it was a real couple of bad falls just when the race was heating up.
Posty? Severance ran well?
Yeah, look, no excuses. He was in a good position throughout from Keelan Woods. I mean, he always looks slightly awkward under pressure, Severance. I think, he carries his head a little bit high, but he's ran perfectly respectable. I mean, Ngolo, I think down £10 from where he started off with Anne Duffield. And yeah, I mean, a bit like G-Rod, I'd have struggled to pick that one out. He could have given me half a dozen shots at this, and I wouldn't have found that one. So, big day. Anne Duffield wouldn't have that many jumpers, I wouldn't imagine. So, big day for them, and a real fantastic prize to take home.
A grade 3 winner for Willie Mullins.
Yeah,
that's
only 7, yeah.
First winner since December 2021 for Anne Duffield. That's
He's 142 rated hurler at one stage over here.
Is that right? Yeah.
That's
and he was
winner.
placed in a grade 1 novice hurdle as well. So, he had bags of ability. I just Willie couldn't eke it out of him, though, for some reason. He was a bit of an enigma, but he's spread eagled him there.
Third winner since 2016 over jumps for Anne Duffield.
Yeah.
So, but what was the finishing price there, Barry, for Ngolo?
Betfair SP at 36.5. Your runner-up Severance traded for a little over about 233 quid. Was traded at 3s on Severance.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed everything is okay with Harry Skelton and Westcourt. But good to see Milkwood and Sam Twiston-Davis, and who was brought down, Cormier and Johnny Burke. Both fingers crossed everything okay with them. But N'Golo, a ready winner of the £100,000 Swinton Hurdle. Next up for us, I think it's a trip back to Lingfield for another classic trial, this time the Oaks trial, and Emily Dickinson. Looks very, very tough to beat. You'd feel for Ryan Moore and Aidan O'Brien. Mystic Wells, Belt, Buckle, Rogue Millennium could give Emily Dickinson most to think about. Barry, come to you first.
Yeah, so your market at the moment is Emily Dickinson, obviously your favourite, 206, 6-2 Mystic Wells, Belt Buckle 7-8, and it's 10 bar. Obviously, any one of these can take a massive step forward, these fillies. Emily Dickinson, these guys are just carrying everything before them this week in the Derby trials. Can they do the same with the Oaks? The maiden that she won in Nace, she beat one of Donica's, Red Azalea. Form hasn't really worked out. Red Azalea was a beaten favourite next time out. And the third horse, Arc, we haven't seen that since. But on a line through Red Azalea, she's probably readily opposed. But the horse I like in it was Belt Buckle. She's bred and owned by Bert Black, the founder of Betfair, the co-founder of Betfair. And she just showed a really, really good attitude in Wolverhampton. Now, it probably wasn't much of a race in Wolverhampton, but her attitude just really shone through for me. And I think it's crucial that John and Teddy Gosden are putting her straight into this listed race. They want to see where they stand, and rightly so. It's a ballsy move from them, and I think it could be rewarded. Currently trading on the Betfair Exchange, G-Rod, at 7.4. Happy to be a price taker here at 7.4 as well, because I think if Andrew Black gets it into his head, he wants to have a few quid on this, the price will go down. So 7.6 now, actually. So we'll have 50 quid win at 7.6 Belt Buckle to do the job for the founder of Betfair.
Okay, Belt Buckle. John Gosden, of course, has won.
He's already had a winner today. Actually, he had a winner. Hugo Palmer had a winner for him up in Haydock. Brad the Brief. So could be a lucky day for Bert.
John Gosden's won 3 of the last 5 runnings. Hertford Dance in 2017, Annapurna 2019, and Miss Yoda 2020. Annapurna, of course, went on to complete the Oaks trial and Oaks double with success at Epsom. United Nations, I'll sweet on that, and I'm now very sweet on Emily Dickinson. I think if you look at the run last time out, made all sorts of trouble at Nace and showed a very, very good attitude, and was better than the bare margin suggests. If you look back when she was 5th at Leopardstown, above the curve and Forts of June, obviously fought out the finish to the Cheshire Oaks. So that form looks solid. I know what Barry says about the victory last time out, but I just think she was better than the rest of that field, and there should be more to come from Emily Dickinson. What about yourself, Posty?
Yeah, I'm with you, Danny. I mean, the extra 3 furlongs should be right up her street, shouldn't it, here as well? And a real blue blood pedigree. Chiquita, who won the Irish Oaks.
Yeah.
I mean, she was quite a quirky character, Chiquita, by Monja. This filly, I thought, seemed relatively straightforward. Seemed to get her head down and try. So, look, with the form of the yard, the progress with the up-in trip, the progressive nature, like you said, the tying into the form with above the curb and 4th of June, which was flagged up at Chester this week. And with the great respect, you got a second favourite, I think, won a handicap last time off 84. It'd be disappointing to think that Emily Dickinson wasn't going to be a bit better than that, I would have said at this stage. And yeah, I mean, I'd probably be in agreement with Barry that I'd rather see Belt Buckle as the alternative to Mystic than Mystic Wells, personally.
Aidan O'Brien only won the race twice. 2004, Baraka, not a horse I'm that familiar with. And then 2016, obviously the multiple Group 1 winner, 7th Heaven. G-Rod?
Yeah, I like Mystic Wells. Yeah, the handicap winner. The now horse in the race, as I like to call them. Probably not the best horse in the race going forward, but definitely going to be absolutely spot on for this race, because it's already run twice this season for a start. Was impressive when winning a handicap last time out, Brighton, albeit the second. Was well held at Chester the other day in a handicap, but again, the time was solid of that Brighton race, and I thought that on what they had achieved so far, Mystic Wells definitely had the strongest form and was a good price as a result. It was like, it's not often you get back the horse that's like, I think this horse is miles clear on RPRs. It's not a horse that you get to back a horse at those sort of odds. It's about sort of prices at 6.4 on the exchange, a horse that's a long way clear on RPR. So, I mean, I thought that in the long term, yeah, Mystic Wells isn't going to be winning any Oaks, is she? But for this race, she had a good chance of winning.
Just seen a very good thing on Twitter, actually. Great news. All horses and jockeys are up and okay after the Swinton Hurdle. So that's great to hear. I think great that after that nasty fall for Harry Skelton and Westcourt, both of them are okay as well. So that's good news from the Swinton Hurdle. But Mystic Wells going to be the section for G-Rod. I guess the other one towards the top of the betting is Rogue Millennium. Impressed on debut, I think was sold at the Shadwell Dispersal, but did well at Weatherby. What chance did you give the Rogue Millennium here, Posty?
I mean, I think on bare form, she got a step forward an awful lot. Tom Clover, again, is a young trainer that I'd have a lot of time for. And I mean, the filly looks very well bought at 35,000 guineas, doesn't she, as well, you know? So, look, a big day for them. And there's going to be a few of them in this race, like looking for this place back, black type pressure stuff for when these horses go on to be broodmares in the future. And I could see Rogue Millennium maybe nicking some place black type. I'd be surprised. I don't know what you think, G-Rod, if she'd be good enough to take this prize home.
Yeah, we don't really know, do we? Because she only had one run, and obviously she won. It's always difficult to assess these types of horses, and particularly from a yard like Tom Clover, who wouldn't be Aidan O'Brien. You know, you can half guess how good Emily Dickinson's going to be just because of the fact she turns up in this race, and Aidan O'Brien will have so many fillies at home that you can test her against. With Tom Clover, he probably wouldn't have lots and lots of Oaks horses or Oaks trial sort of horses to test her against. So it's probably as much a fact-finding mission for him as it is for everyone else, really. I suppose maybe that you could argue that that's what they're trying to do. And my one, Mystic Wells, is trying to sneak a bit of black type here, going in there absolutely ripe and ready, fully fit against horses who are only trialling for bigger things to come.
Does it worry you when George Bowe says it's nice to have a runner in a race backed by our sponsor?
Yes.
Oh, I thought that was a good thing, though.
I don't know, I'm just
Trying to win it, isn't he? Yeah.
Well, maybe, yeah.
Maybe he's laid it out for it. Maybe the sponsor came to him and said, look, this horse we've got, make sure that it's ripe and ready to win the race that I'm sponsoring this year. That's the Oaks trial, not the Oaks. Forget the Oaks. We just want to win the trial.
Yeah.
We're not interested in the Oaks. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I love your positive attitude to it all, so we'll go with that. Yeah.
Latest update, Barry, on the betting?
Yeah, Emily Dickinson still your favourite at 202, 6-4 Mystic Wells, 8 now Belt Buckle, 10 Rogue Millennium and 21 Bar.
7-2 joint favourites are Tuesday and Emily Upjohn for the Oaks, with the Moonlight and Agave at 15-2 along with Life of Dreams. Emily Dickinson currently 20-1 with Betfair, so it'll be interesting to see what happens if she can deliver here. Nashwa 9-1. Above the Curve and Forts of June also at bigger prices. What did you make of that Cheshire Oaks between Forts of June and Above the Curve?
I thought the second should have won. I thought that he was outridden. Was it Shane Cross? I think that he thought he was going to get there. I think he thought, well, we've beaten this horse before. We're going to go past it. We've got the rest covered. And Ryan had just stolen it, hadn't he, from the front. He was outridden.
Posty?
It always seems like I'm defending jockeys, and I'm not. I have no problem with. I just thought it was one of those races around the tactical track where if Above the Curve's plan wasn't to lead and therefore you're following, you have to follow. And once we saw this week that you let Ryan loose on the front end, it's very dangerous. And I agree that maybe moving forward, Above the Curve is the better horse. I just thought on the day, because of the tactics employed, which maybe is the jockey's plan, maybe is a combination of trainer and jockey, it just didn't go their way. Like I say, I'd be wary of calling it out as a bad ride. I just think it was one of those where circumstance went the other way, you know. And
just looking at the stats, that was his first ride at Chester.
Which,
Could
exactly.
you say
which
was that probably that
But
caught
then
him out?
how do you get better?
Yeah.
You know, Joseph O'Brien's using his own team of riders. Shane Cross is obviously a very talented young man.
Yeah.
And he's learning his trade. But like I say, if the plan all along wasn't to make all on that horse, then what does he do from there?
Okay, yeah. No.
Should he have not got going on her earlier, I think?
Potentially.
Coming off the home
Potentially. But
He stole a couple of lengths, didn't he?
he did,
More.
yeah. And so now I'm going to backtrack. Maybe he was slightly outridden. But like I say, I didn't put it down to being a bad ride. I just thought that at the time, you got a jockey riding on the crest of a wave that's brilliant around that track, that nicked a couple of lengths turning in, and maybe caught the other one slightly flat-footed. Go on, Barry. Yeah.
I'm not sure the second stayed.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, travelled great.
It showed such a turn of foot the time before that it had won. I'm just not 100% sure that she stayed. I'd be surprised if we see her in the Oaks.
Interesting, yeah.
What did you make of Tuesday's run in the Guineas, Barry? 7-2 joint favourite with Betfair now after that third?
Yeah, it's very similar to what Luxembourg did in the Colts Classic. You know, it ran well, was on the favourite side of the course as it turned out for the 2 days. Everyone wanted to be over that. Well, all the winners came from over the far side and even on the supporting card. So, yeah, I thought that was a very, very respectable run, and rightly so. 7-2 favourite for the Oaks now.
I like Emily Upjohn as well. I was impressed with that performance. It sounded okay. Tuesday's probably got the stronger form by the bare looks of it, but there looks to be ultra progression from Emily Upjohn.
Yeah, she's another one, isn't she? There, we're at that time of year where we've got a bunch of we're trying to sort of put them in a pecking order, aren't they? Aren't we? As we go into the Oaks, and she won well at Sandown, didn't she?
Their form lines though, Tuesday's got to be a bar.
Yeah, of course, yeah, on what we've seen, but potential is there. Isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Betting update, Barry, just with the last two going in before this.
Evens 11-2, Mystic Wells, Belt Buckle 9-4, Friendless in the market 9, Rogue Millennium, some money for that, an 18 bar.
So Barry's with Belt Buckle, G-Rod's with Mystic Wells, and Posty and myself.
Mystic Wells just got very upset then briefly.
A bit upset in the stalls. I used to have a friend who always used to say, I lay every horse that gets upset in the stalls on Betfair. That was one of his systems.
Did it work for him?
I think she's got the Monty Roberts blanket on there that just stops the stalls from touching their sides.
Ryan Moore, strike rate, 13 races, last 13 rides, 69%. Can he better that now with success on Emily Dickinson? But Mystic Wells has shown good early pace. Belt Buckle towards the rail. Oh, Ryan Moore doesn't look particularly pleased with that start, but now he's managed to get Emily Dickinson into around third, but not ideally positioned 3 wide, G-Rod.
No, he's out wide. He's having to push. He wants to be right prominent on Emily Dickinson, but he's out there now. And the way that things are going for Ryan this week, he'll probably just win, won't he?
Belt Buckle on the rail.
Fast pace.
Belt Buckle is head up in the air, is pulling the arms out and didn't settle at all. Got lit up as soon as she left the traps. She's out to 20 on the exchange. 7-6 Road Millennium. Favourites 5-4 against now. 7-2 Mystic Well. That's come in for support. The dog keeps kicking the camera.
Jack Mitchell looking for a bit of cover on Rogue Millennium, but it's still Mystic Wells out in front. Nikki is also there for Jed O'Keefe and Jamie Spencer in the van with Emily Dickinson. Belt Buckle was keen early, still looks quite keen, but has settled a bit better. But Mystic Wells still out in front and setting a nice pace here at the minute, G-Rod.
Yeah, quite happy with the Mystic Wells at the moment. I just wish Ryan Moore wasn't right on my shoulder on the favourite, because you just get the feeling when Ryan's running like this, it's just going to come past you. But they're coming in that part of the track now where they climb up towards the top of the hill. And then we get the Epsom style turn, and we can see how they react to the Tattenham Corner style home bend.
Tom Marquand on Making Me Do It, and Jefferson Smith on Free Priests at the back of the field. Rogue Millennium and Belt Buckle with a bit of work to do from there, you feel, as Mystic Wells and Emily Dickinson go on. Are you happy with Emily Dickinson at the minute, Posty?
She still looks quite green, Danny. I don't know if Ryan's completely happy. He's having to cajole her, squeeze her all the time to keep her up to her work. Little tap down the shoulder there and she's rolling into the rail as they come around the turn. And Mystic Wells has got him on the stretch, putting the experience to good use at the moment, but a long straight at Lingfield.
Long way to go yet.
Yeah. Mystic Wells travelling sweetly. In running here, Barry?
Favourite 6-4 against now. Rogue Millennium is 5-2. Rogue Millennium, your new favourite.
Emily Dickinson staying on strongly. Rogue Millennium, the new favourite, but on the outside. Belt Buckle with work to do. On the rail, though, Tom Marquand Making Me Do It have gone on. Emily Dickinson looks beat.
Tom Clover's
Rogue Millennium on the outside. It's still Mystic Wells out in front. Here comes Rogue Millennium and Making Me Do It. Making Me Do It on the rail. Rogue Millennium on the outside. Mystic Wells has been game and still there in the middle. Is Mystic Wells going to hold them all off? Rogue Millennium, the last challenger. Mystic Wells all out. Looking tight. Rogue Millennium gets there. Oh, what a ride that is from Jack Mitchell. Gets there in the shadows of the post. Mystic Wells had fended off all comers, but it looks like Rogue Millennium has just got up in the shadows of the post.
Brilliant.
What a great ride from Jack Mitchell. A huge winner for him and a classic contender for Tom Clover, Posty.
Fantastic, yeah. I mean, young trainer really on the up. I mean, I said I'd have been surprised to see it, but that take a real step forward. I mean, what a buy for 35,000 guineas. What's she worth now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oaks trial winner with that coming forward. I mean, and again a filly by Jabawi, so proper pedigree as well from the must have been from the Shadwell kick out or something like that, was it? I presume. I mean, looks very well brought now, and a good ride by Jack Mitchell. Like you said, she was a bit free early, got some cover, had to wait and take her time, and maybe she rate a bit better than this form? As would you mark that up, G-Rod? Because you'd say the second got the run of it, really.
Yeah. Although the second has run a huge race because she's gone very quick, I think, early, and the favourite was right up with her, wasn't she, Emily Dickinson, and she's been well beaten. But definitely the horse to take out the race going forward is the winner, obviously, because she's more unexposed. Mystic Wells, like we said, this was her race. This was a now race for her. The winner is a lot less race. She's only had one run coming in, so she's open to loads more improvement. And she looked good. And I think they went a good pace. So I suppose we shouldn't be too harsh on
Would
them.
the proximity of a horse rated 77 in third be a concern or not?
It would be if you were handicapping the race, wouldn't it? You wouldn't from an RPR perspective, but then you would have to take the race on its merits.
Belt buckle didn't look like a lot of it inexperienced. Barry pulled, but I wouldn't be giving up on belt buckle. Clearly got ability, but just could do with a bit more experience.
She'll win plenty of races, I've no doubt about that. That was her first time on grass as well. So, I see her taking a step forward, but Charlie makes a very valid point about make me do it in third. You'd have to question the form. The runner-up traded low 1.18 for over 100 quid, Mystic Wells. Emily Dickinson traded at 1.68 a low in running. The winner's not in the Oaks, interestingly, so it won't be any classic for her this year.
Could connection supplement on the back of that? Would you
go Yorkshire Oaks or something? Could she?
They may go for the
Ribblesdale.
She's in the Ribblesdale. She's in the Ribblesdale.
Yeah, they may go for the Ribblesdale. Yeah, a bit disappointed to get done right on the line there. 1.18 Barry tennis.
1.18, yeah.
Nice one, but it was a heroic effort in defeat, nevertheless, from the second.
Lucky for your mate, though, wasn't it, who lays them when they get a bit worked up in the stall. Right, he was just delighted to see it get in.
Another winner for him.
A disappointing effort from the favourite, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She wasn't ever really going, was she, Posty?
I just thought she always looked behind the bridle, as in that she just was never quite travelling as comfortably as Ryan had looked like he was having to squeeze her along the whole time. I suppose only the 25th of April that she had her last run. Maybe it's come a bit quick. Maybe she's still a bit light on experience. If you watch the head-on back from a furlong and a half down, Ryan was easy on her. As in he could tell that he'd accepted that today wasn't going to be her day, and he was looking after her with the future in mind. So maybe there's going to be better days on the horizon for Emily Dickinson, but looked a bit short of experience for me.
So Rogue Millennium runs out the winner of the Oaks trial. A great ride from Jack Mitchell. I guess the Oaks picture doesn't really do a lot to it, but it's still 7-2 for Tuesday and Emily up. John, anything else you've seen with the Moonlight, Agave, Life of Dreams, Nashwa, you'd give a shout to?
Well, with the Moonlight was very good, but the horse who was favourite for that was called Crenelle, pulled too hard. So I suppose you can question the strength of the form, but I thought the bare visuals were good for with the Moonlight. I wonder, she looked quite a quick filly though. I wonder if she'll stay. We'll see. It's an open. It's like the Derby, isn't it? It's wide open at the moment. That race isn't going to have any say in it, is it? Because the winner's not in it, and the second definitely won't win in the Oaks. So.
Posty?
I
thought Tuesdays is by far the best form on offer. I thought actually, for all that we're saying that the second horse possibly should have won at Chester, I thought Aiden's filly was I showed a lot of really good qualities, in all honesty. A great attitude, a good mindset, kept galloping well, and again seems to be improving with racing. And listening to Ryan's comments afterwards, I got the impression he was quite impressed with her. So I wouldn't be saying it's a foregone conclusion that she won't confirm the horse form with Joseph O'Brien's filly moving forward. Like G-Rod says, I'm not sure the Lingfield Oak trial is going to have a huge bearing on this year's contest. And right now, I'd have said Tuesday is a deserved favourite. Be interested to see from with York again coming forward whether there's going to be anything flagged up there that's going to have a huge effect on the market, because today's contest definitely won't.
Barry, final thoughts on the Oaks picture?
I think Tuesday's a very worthy favourite, Danny.
So there you go, Tuesday for
That's the best
Barry.
trial. That's the best trial for the Oak.
Moving on.
1,000 guineas.
Moving on now to the 3:30 ultra competitive event. This over a mile. Barry, start with you. What do you like in this?
Yeah, so it's 9-2 the field. Strawberry 9-2, 7.6 Soft Whisper, Serenading 8-6, 8 Rising Star. Money for that. 8-8 Don't Tell Care. Stunning Beauty 9. I like Stunning Beauty and Hayley Turner here, is rated 94, the 5-year-old, very promising juvenile. 3 recent runs in Maidan where obviously she spent the winter raging from 6 furlongs to a mile 1. She didn't manage to win any of them. She's rated 94. Her last winning mark was 93. And obviously she stayed in training as well, which is a little tip in itself. And the last time she won was in Doncaster in June last year, like I say, off 93. So she's just a pound higher than that mark when she beat Le Bon in Donny. So, she's my fancy in the race, please, G-Rod. 8.8 at the moment. She's just come in a couple of ticks. She's 9 again. So we'll have 50 quid on at 9. Stunning Beauty for Hayley Turner and Syed Bin Surur.
Okay. Stunning Beauty for Barry. Posty, start with you this time.
I'm going with Spirit of the Bay for Clive Cox. She took a couple of runs to come to the Boyle last year and then rattled off a 4-timer, the last of which was off 80. Still £3 higher, but she's had 2 runs now. Maybe slightly was better expected at Doncaster, but maybe a muddling race with not a lot of tempo. I think this sort of track should suit her well and a good gallop. And Clive Cox has come roaring into form recently. I think he's 5 from 21 over the last 14 days and has started this month in great form. So yeah, that was where I was siding.
Okay, what about yourself here, G-Rod?
I'm with Serenading. I think that this also be suited by this track. Last time out was beaten in a 3-runner race at Newcastle by a called Rising Star. Looks a decent horse, but nothing special. But I don't think a 3-runner race around Newcastle will be this optimum. The optimum test for this horse. I think this handicap where they might go a good pace over a mile at Ascot, you need to be coming from off the pace usually. It's very difficult to make all over a mile on the straight track at Ascot. Having said that, there are a few who have done it in recent Hunt Cups and bits and pieces like that, and I think that's because a lot of the jockeys have become aware of the fact that it is quite difficult to make all, so they don't want to go out and blast their way out, and sometimes some of these front runners get easy leads, but hopefully that won't happen here and they go good pace. And if they go good pace, we've got James Doyle up on the Serenading, and again, this is another track Posty where jockeyship, this straight track at Ascot, seems to be huge. Like there's just certain jockeys that ride this straight track at Ascot better than others, and I would name Spencer, Hayley Turner, who's riding Barry's one, and James Doyle as 3 who really excel on straight track at Ascot.
Why do you think that is? Because just the ability to judge the pace is very difficult.
Yeah, I think that it's very easy to go too soon here, and it's stiffer than you think.
Massively, I think that's a big factor. Yeah.
It's almost on the 5 furlong track. There is almost similar to Sandown, where they just Sandown they race virtually uphill, and Ascot is very similar in terms of undulation. So there'll be, I think that they get racing early. A lot of jockeys go too soon, and some jockeys just have more patience than others. Spencer, Hayley Turner, James Doyle on the list.
Okay.
We just seen an Oaks filly win an ace there, guys.
Was just going to say that to you, Barry.
Lady, 7-1 from 25-1. She absolutely danced in, and she put some daylight between her and the rest of them. They're well strung out. She looks a really, really nice prospect now. Tranquil Lady, remember that name? So that's probably the best Oaks trial in Ireland. The Blue Wind Stakes. It's a Group 3, and she's done it well there for Joseph O'Brien.
Seen off Lily Pond and Tosin Liddy there. Obviously, probably the second string as well, Barry.
Yeah, interestingly, yeah. When you look at it there, they had River Rain in it as well. Joseph had, and obviously he had Tosin Lydia. So
7-1, you said, for the Oaks now.
7 from 25, Tranquil Lady.
Tranquil Lady. Good performance there in the Blue Wind Stakes. I'm gonna be with Delta Bay. It was a much shorter price. I think it was around 6s yesterday, but is on the drift here. And as you can see, 17.5 on the exchange. I just thought was thoroughly unexposed for Hughie Morrison. OK was making a bit of a long layoff, but was well beaten behind Creative Flair and trained by John Gosden last year. But I thought there could be more to come for Hughie Morrison, but has been friendless in the market today, Delta Bay. So might just be one to watch going forward for George Rook and Hughie Morrison. Course and distance winner, Don't Tell Claire. The Kublers had a nice winner at Chester earlier on this week. G-Rod, what do you make of Don't Tell Claire?
Yeah, Don't Tell Claire has been tipped up in the paper today, hasn't he? It's one of our lads has tipped him. Yeah, I mean,
price-wise, yeah.
Yeah, course and distance form, and yeah, the stable seems to be in decent nick. Yeah, Richard Kingcote riding, and Yeah, he doesn't ride for the Owens anymore. I see.
Yeah, that happened midway through last year, didn't it?
I think he was getting more stout rides as well, wasn't he?
Tom Dascombe, that he said he was going to go freelance, and maybe he knew what was on the horizon.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, Ben Curtis was taking a lot of the rides, wasn't he, last week for the Hugo Palmer team? Saw him riding quite a few for them.
And a word on Strawberry, the favourite.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, she's another very, very likely race filly, and she just having won she won 2 of her 6 starts, completely unexposed. We just don't know what to make of her, but she is from Top Yard, of course. Roger Varian. As I said earlier, I always think that Roger Varian's better at training horses over longer trips.
2 wins on heavy, is that a concern or not?
I would probably say, if that's the best pick of a form, she's got to win on good to soft as well at Beverley. The Varian stable are in good form, but they're not having the big winners at the minute, are they, really? That's the only...
Yeah, wouldn't worry me, because I always think that trainers are very, very sensitive about this going issue. And, if Roger Varian thought that this going was going to be a problem, she wouldn't be there, I don't think.
Anything else you'd give a mention to, Poste? I know you're with Spirit of the Bay, but anything else that stood out to you when you have a look at the card?
I mean, we've gone through most of the ones that the one that interested with, Delta Bay, your selection, I just wonder why about the change of stable. The run on the, I just wonder why the switch and like I say, friendless in the market for Huey Morrison, which is interesting, really.
Well, I'm hoping that Rising Star is going to be on the premises because obviously that was the horse that beat my selection.
She ran well in a deeper race at Newcastle as well, didn't she?
Yeah,
after that.
So I just think that this race might pan out better for my selection than the Newcastle one did. But you'd be hopeful if you're back in Serenading that Rising Star will be there or thereabouts as well for Marco Botti. But lots of unexposed, lightly raced fillies in it, aren't there?
Neil Callan's good to see back riding over
there,
isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, he's done so well since he's come back as well, hasn't he?
A very good rider, though, like you said.
Final update, Barry, with just Delta Bay left to go in.
Yeah, 5-3 Strawberry, Soft Whisker 7-8, 7-6 Rising Star. That's another Springer. Don't Tell Claire 8 Stunning Beauty from 9.
Here we go then. 45 grand British EBF fillies handicap over a mile. Strawberry went off your favourite here for the Atzini and Varian combination, but it's the Godolphin duo of Soft Whisper and Stunning Beauty who look to be at the minute in front, but they split into 2 groups at the minute, G-Rod.
Yeah, like 1.5 groups, isn't it, almost. You've got Aurea, and is that the favourite? Is it a favourite Strawberry?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Strawberry, yeah.
They've just decided they're going to come up the middle, whereas the other, 7 runners have gone more towards middle to stand side. So, my selection, Serenading, is right at the back in that stand side group, which I would expected James Doyle to be holding it up.
Aurea leading the far side group, and it's Soft Whisper who goes on the near side. Delta Bay travelling nicely in behind. Don't Tell Claire as well. What's the in running at the minute, Barry?
3-8 Strawberry now. It looks like the 2 groups will merge. 11-4 Strawberry, 8 Don't Tell Claire, 7.8 Serenading, 7-6 Soft Whisper. But your favourite Strawberry hardening all the time.
Still travelling sweetly is Soft Whisper for Pat Gosgrave out in front. Delta Bay on the right-hand side. Also travelling nicely is Stunning Beauty. Strawberry now urged along by Atzini, and Aurea on the far outside, but still travelling well is Soft Whisper. Pat Gosgrave yet to ask the question on Saib bin Saror's charge here. Delta Bay and Don't Tell Claire following through. The Godolphin duo try to go on here. Soft Whisper and Stunning Beauty, the stable companion. Still in front is Soft Whisper. On the rail, though, staying on. Is that Spirit of the Bay posted?
Yeah, it's mine. Yeah,
Spirit of the Bay.
I think we're going to run out of racing room now.
Yeah,
has funded home, though, Spirit of the Bay, but it's still out in front. Soft Whisper and Spirit of the Bay. Can William Cox get Spirit of the Bay up? It's going to be tight, but Soft Whisper just going to hold it. That's a fine ride. Pat Cosgrave timed the fractions brilliantly, and Soft Whisper makes all, and that's a winner for Saib bin Saror, who's been slightly quiet of late, but good to see Said amongst the winners there for Godolphin. Soft Whisper defies top weight and holds on to record a first success of the season since winning the listed Rosemary Stakes last term. But Soft Whisper holds off a good run in second from Spirit of the Bay, though.
Yeah, really good run. Just got caught slightly flat-footed when William Cox was looking to pick her up, and she's finished off really well. I mean, to be honest, looking like a little bit further in trip wouldn't do her any harm, but I'm not really sure I had any real excuses. We sort of had a nice patient ride, got a split up the stand side rail, and have finished off good, and just ran out of runway really. Another probably 5 strides would have done, as we've really seen out the race well.
Soft Whisper went off even money favourite for the Cape Verde in January, but I mean, had been out of form in Maidan. Maybe just a return to domestic shores, G-Rod?
Yeah, I had bits and pieces of form, I think, that said that she could win a race. There was a good run at Newmarket last year, comes to mind. But I'm very disappointed with my one, Serenading, because she's managed to finish 4th, and I seem to be crossbarring today. Mystic thingy finishing 2nd. The second leg of the double going wrong with Walker Stars. Yeah, frustrating day so far. I might have to start having a go at trainers in a minute.
Oh, don't. Let's have a look at the SPs then, Barry.
The Betfair SP of the winner was 11.5. The second traded at a low of 5-4 in running. But, yeah, that's about it, really.
A first and third, 4 side bins for all. The favourite, bitterly disappointing, Strawberry. G-Rod.
Yeah, in the group that went over on the other side to race alone.
I think
they were drawn low, those two.
Yeah.
It's only 9 in it, though, wasn't it?
Does that have any effect on where you want to be? Do you want to be high for the Victoria Cup?
Yes.
You reckon?
And there's all the pace. I think a lot of the pace is high in the Victoria Cup, if that's going to be a factor. Rising Star, I also thought, as if you watch it back, raced very keen, sort of stuck out on the wing of that more stand side group and over raced the whole way.
Just hastily looking to see where my selection's drawn there.
We'll come to that at 4:05. Next up for us, I think, is going to be the 350 at Lingfield. Chartwell Filly Stakes. I thought it was a pretty tough event. She was defeated, I think, was it Chakoya last time? But I mean, what did you make of this make-up, Posty?
I mean, I was really confident with She Do, if I'm honest. I thought this race had the potential to be a lot stronger on entry. I can't think of the name of the Andrew Bolden filly that was in here, and Highland Princess of John Quinn's as well, which hasn't travelled down. And this filly, I thought, had a really progressive look through last year, certainly, but she ended it off with a listed win at Newmarket over Gale Force Mayor. Again, the form of that has worked out nicely, and she had Chakoya back in 4th that day. She's a 4-year-old, often for 3-year-old fillies and gelding and colts, it can be a tough time. She looked like she gets the 6 really well, and I think stepping up to 7 is a good move. And yeah, I thought she was one of my better fancies of the day, Danny She Do. As in, I just think she could be the sort of filly to progress and be upwardly mobile through this year and make up into a nice 7 furlong filly who might even get a little bit further still.
Okay. I'm also in agreement with She Do. I think we'll enjoy the step back up to 7 furlongs, having won back in October, and hopefully a good season ahead for the Gredleys and Roger.
I think you've tipped every jolly, have you, Danny?
Steady.
Every favourite so
I've just tipped the outsider, Delta Bay, and it finished last. I'm trying to have a winner on my debut here, Barry. Otherwise, I'll never get invited back. She Do. What about yourself, G-Rod?
Yeah, I am with the big drifter Chakoya, who went off favourite for the race that She Do won, I think, last year. I don't think she was at her best that day. The problem is weak in the market, long time off the track, and the trip is a worry, isn't it? And she's drawn out in still 3. So there are all the reasons why she's not going to win. But I like Hugo Palmer's horses off a break. Usually they are really fully wound up and well tuned. Usually. Ryan Moore's absolutely flying. Mm-hmm. I think she's got 2 of the 3 best pieces of form in the race. Just hope that she stays. But when she won at Chelmsford last year, she only got on top really late. Like she came home really strongly. That gives me a bit of hope that she might stay 7. But we're going to find out. Maybe this is a fact-finding mission for Hugo Palmer and his team as well. But they put Ryan up. Yeah. Be fairly confident.
Chakoya then for G-Rod. Barry, market and your pick?
She Do is your favourite at 11-4, 3.856. Symphony Perfect. Chakoya is 7.74. Ren's Breath. Pearl Glory 8.6, and it's 11 far. I like Pearl Glory in it for Ben Curtis and Juan de Montalban's trainer, Kevin Philip Defoy. Is that how you pronounce it, G-Rod?
Kevin Foy.
Foy.
Kevin Foy.
Seriously, is that how you pronounce it?
I think it's Kevin Philip Hart Defoy.
Yeah, Defoy, I think.
Just Kevin Foy.
Or Kevin Foy.
Keep it simple. That's what I like about you, G-Rod. Just keep it simple. Anyway, that's the horse I like in a Pearl Glory. won in Lingfield on the grass, interestingly enough, and followed up in Salisbury in a novice event. Then finished second to Romantic Time in a Fillies Group 3 in Salisbury again. Signed off last season, was sixth in the Oh So Sharp at HQ. And the 3-year-old fillies here get £12 off the older fillies. So I think it's set fair for her to run a big race. She's drawn 5 as well, which I like. So we're going to have 50 quid win on her, please, G-Rod, at 9.4.
Right, okay. Which one is it? Kevin Foy's one?
Yes, Pearl Glory.
Pearl Glory, okay. Yeah.
Ben Curtis in the plate.
Right, got you. What do you make of Wren's Breath?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah. Well, she's Irish, isn't she? I come
Yeah,
to
Henry
on
the
all the
Bromhead
Irish.
trains her. Yeah, I don't know whether just hoping for a little bit of black type with her, but you couldn't have her on form. Like, she went to Doncaster behind Just Beautiful in that Scepter Stakes and was beaten out of sight. Yeah, it's not. It's hard to be. It would hard to be confident about her in any way. But again, you know, I'd say it's just black type hunting, if I'm being brutally honest. They probably didn't expect the 8 to rock up here either.
Yeah, it just always catches my eye when Henry de Bromhead brings one over for flat races. You know, he had that horse Lismore.
Yeah, I remember in Sandown last year, didn't we do that race, cover that race on an evening in Sandown when he did 20 to 1 chance that one that you fancy?
Yeah, Lismore. He was there that night, yeah, as well. So, yeah, it was a little bit of a tip if you were there and you saw him.
I've just seen Aldari's one at Haydock in the Spring Trophy. That's why Jim Crowley went to Haydock. So they've enjoyed a nice double, Shadwell, Aldari.
8 from 14 for the Queen Anne.
And Aldari. A good performance as well, I think, Barry. People are saying on Twitter.
Yeah, it was, yeah, impressive.
As we've got a quick bit of time, G-Rod, obviously big race over on stateside tonight, the Kentucky Derby. Have you got any thoughts on the race?
I must admit, I don't follow American racing at all, but our tipsters have put up Barber Road and State Crown, I think that is something like that it's called. And I certainly wouldn't be, putting anyone off backing them because they're both huge prices. I think Barber Road was 28.33s in that region, and the one that Tom Siegel tipped was a huge double-figure price as well. There seems to be, having spoken to a couple of our US experts, they seem to want to take on these favourites and think that there could be an upset tonight. So, yeah, I look forward to it, and I would love to go to the Kentucky Derby one day. But I wouldn't be, the world's best expert on, well, American racing, let alone British racing. A lot of people would say.
Crown Pride, the UAE Derby winner, I think, for Japan. I think.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Crown Pride. Yeah, I knew it was a crown in it. Yeah, Crown Pride. That's the one that Tom Siegel was tipped. So yeah, those would be the two. That I will probably have a small interest because I probably will stay up till midnight to watch it. It's 11:57 tonight. Churchill.
Japanese, the bloodlines
That's
are
it,
also really coming forward. I mean, well, not that they haven't been here, but I mean, like, they are starting to dominate, aren't they?
They are. Yeah, it could be the future, couldn't it?
I'd say 100%. Yeah.
They've enjoyed some special results already this year, haven't they? Across Saudi and Dubai.
World Cup night. Yeah.
Just on back to this race at Lingfield. One, Thunder Beauty obviously used to be trained by Ken Condon. Last 2 starts probably needs to build on those. But I think there was a bit of promise last time in listed company in October. Poste.
Yeah, without doubt. I mean, look, you've got to respect connections. David O'Meara does very well with this type of horse, but on the figures and everything like that, I still think we need to see more forward progress from Thunder Beauty to really have it to take an effect here, Danny. If I'm honest.
G-Rod, anything else you give a mention to at a bigger price?
I had a Wren's Breath on my mind as a possible. I thought that she had the obvious chance, but I didn't think that she had any stronger form than Chokoya. I know that she beat Chokoya, of course, last time, but I'm fairly convinced that Chokoya, we didn't see the real Chokoya that day. I suppose we should mention the now horse in the race, which is Symphony Perfect. She is going to have this as definitely 100% her target because she's coming in on the back a couple of runs. She's going to be fully fit, fully wound up for this one, whereas some of these might be using it as a springboard for other things later in the season. And there's a lot to be said for being the now horse in the race, isn't there? It's not always the best horse that wins these races. It's the horse that is their target and they're right on that day. And Symphony Perfect could be the one. But on what we've seen, she isn't as good as the others. But she might be today, I suppose.
I don't have the stats, but what's the sort of record for 3-year-olds getting the weight for age allowance at this time of year in a race of this nature?
I don't know,
12
but
pounds.
No. What's the sort of stats about the conversion of that? If you know what I mean, as in is because certainly with jumpers with that 3-year-old allowance over hurdles, it's still very difficult even in receipt of it for them to beat the older horses. I just wonder what the sort of record was for 3-year-olds at this time of year over this distance with the weight for age allowance.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have thought it's too bad. Because I would have thought that you only run a 3-year-old against your older horses at this time of year if you think they're physically developed enough to cope with it. You wouldn't run an immature 3-year-old against their elders, would you, if you were training them? But that, I haven't got the figures to back that up. Someone else might. No. But I could run them out. I'll run them out at some point. I'll run them out and I'll tell you the next live, shall I? I don't have my computer. Sometimes I've got my computer here and I can run them all out, but I don't have it. Didn't bring it today.
Okay. So next time,
I'll treat you.
Watch next week.
Everyone waiting on tenterhooks to find out the record of 3-year-olds against older horses in the next RP Live that I'm on, which is not next week. It's the week after next.
So you're not on next week. So a quick word then on Bide. Looking forward to seeing him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Very, very much so. Yeah. How good is he?
Oh, I think he's. I think
he's
he's the
special?
next. Yes, I do.
Yeah,
He's good,
I
isn't
think
he?
he's very good already, and he's the potential to be
Yeah.
even better, isn't he?
I think I was talking to someone who does a lot of stuff, the track work and stuff. He said when the time he posted when he won at Leicester marked him out then as a sensational star, and he's only gone on to back that up. And I think his performance when beating Palace Pier, even at Longchamp, when he probably wasn't at his best.
Yeah.
You'd think with another year.
Is he going to go up in trip this year? That's what they're talking, possibly going a mile and a quarter in the end? Or is he going to stay at a mile? What do you reckon? Tough one.
I'd probably stick him at a mile.
Stick at a mile for now.
When would you step him up? For the Jobmont?
Yeah, that's always the race, isn't it? The race. That'll be the one they get tempted to go for, I think.
I think he's 2-5 favourite for the Lockings next week, Barry. Bide.
Yeah, his mother are 7-2 second favourite. If she's the second favourite, God, they're really struggling because she only fell in. Now, I know she's going to improve for that run in the Curragh, but it was a dreadful race and she literally only just fell in. Real World's one that interests me there if he goes. He's an 8-1 chance at the moment. They are betting 3 places each way. That could be a bit of value against the favourite, but he looks an exceptional talent. He really does. He did so much last year in such a short space of time. Standard sort of improvement between 3 to 4. If he does that and he shows he's trained on, and the world's his oyster, definitely this year. I could see him going a mile 2, well within his compass, I would imagine.
Okay, make sure you're watching RP Live next week with Barry, the star of the show, for Jim Crowley and William Haggis. Just a couple of minutes until the off for this 350, Barry, so just an update on the betting.
Yeah, so it's still 3.7 she'd do around the 11 to 4 mark. 6 Symphony Perfect, Chakoya 8-6, 7-4 Wren's Brett Pearl Glory is 8-6, and it's 11-5 Bardos.
On Henry de Bromhead, what did you make in the end posty of the season? Obviously, of course, had Honeysuckle, Bob Ollinger was a bit of a disappointment. Aplutard, the Gold Cup winner, overall a good year, but a couple of disappointments in there as well.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it was kind of a year that stopped and started, didn't it? It kind of spluttered along, but at the same time, the man trained the champion hurdler and the Gold Cup winner. So, I mean, look, Bob Ollinger, I think, has major questions to answer. I mean, they might have had regret running him at Punchestown. To me, he doesn't look a natural chaser. His technique isn't great. He seems to struggle with fluency. He doesn't really get his front end quick enough, and he's quite straight through his back. I'd have said if Honeysuckle wasn't around, it'd be a no-brainer that they'd be going back over hurdles and seeing if he could be transformed into a champion hurdle horse. If we go back to that Ballymore run, the winning Ballymore performance, it's still is so fresh in the mind. I mean, he looked like he had the world at his feet then. But yeah, it's going to be a long way back for him right now. Henry de Bromhead, though, I mean, yeah, like I say, it spluttered along, but at the same time, he's still got a champion hurdler and a Gold Cup winner on the CV. And Aplutard, again, I mean, it'd be great to see, bar the ownership, him take on Allaho would be something to behold, but it'd be whether we'll get to actually see that, it'd be interesting.
What did you make of Bob Ollinger, G-Rod?
Yeah, well, he was the horse that I was dead against all year, really, after I saw him first time in over fences. I did say that I didn't think he was a chaser, and it's worked out to be the case, I think. He was very disappointing at Cheltenham, albeit, yes, the winner was very good, but he wasn't going to get anywhere near him, and he absolutely walked up the running. I mean, how she got him up the running was amazing. You know, she's the luckiest winner of a Cheltenham Festival race of all time, without doubt, probably. Got Bob Bollinger. And I thought Plutard was absolutely sensational, wasn't he? That Gold Cup performance was probably the best I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of Gold Cups, but I don't remember alls going through the line like that too often. I mean, he was absolutely motoring at the line, wasn't he? He was brilliant, and he's still a young horse, isn't he? Is he just 7, 8? He's a very young horse anyway, and he's a star of the future. Let's hope that he stays right, because he could win 2. Maybe a bit late for him to win 3.
Yeah, he's 8 years old, so yeah, I mean, the way he streaked up that hill,
he could definitely win next year. Whether he could win a third, who knows? But it's a great year for the Gold Cup, isn't it? Loads of good horses coming through. Long Press and the one that was going to win by a mile and then did
Galopin Des Champs.
That one, Galopin Des Champs, yeah.
So, we're over a couple of minutes late now, but just a reminder, you're with She Do, Posty?
Yep, very much so.
And Chakoya, G-Rod?
Yeah, I'm with Chakoya, but very, very, very weak in the market, which is obviously a big concern. I can't say I'm very confident.
And a bit of support for your pick here, Barry, Pearl Glory.
Yeah, just come in a tick, was 9 into 8 now. Ren's Breath is really strong into 6.8.
But She Do.
That's quite strong, isn't it, Barry Ren's Breath?
Really strong.
Yeah. Money coming for that.
A few more still to go, and then we'll have our finale of the day, which is the Victoria Cup Ultra Competitive Handicap to finish.
I wonder if they're going to bounce out on the and try and get on this stand-side rail here with Ren's Breath.
Do you think that's where the pace is, Ren's Breath?
Yeah, well, they all wanted to come up.
I wonder which eye she's blind in.
She got blind in one eye.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, which is a interesting factor, as in a.
Right, where they'll stick her.
Well, is it? Again, if they want to come towards the fence, it'd just be interesting if she's blind on that right side,
Right, yeah.
So there's Ren's Breath, just going part owned by Peter Maloney, of course, racing manager to Kenny Alexander. Of course, Honeysuckle carried the colours to glory in the Irish Champion Hurdle, following up that Champion Hurdle win. Good luck to Ren's Breath, but it's She Do who will go off the market leader. Very final quick update, Barry. Any late movers?
Yeah, 11 to 4 She Do, 9 to 2 Perfect Symphony, 11 to 2 now Ren's Breath, and it's 8 bar.
So here we go. The 8 runners all locked away. For the Chartwell Filly Stakes. Pearl Glory slightly slow away. She Do also prominent. Symphony Perfect on the wide outside. Going up to contest the lead with Lola Showgirl, and also showing good early is the outsider, Rosemary in Time. But Lola Showgirl has settled into the lead. Thunder Beauty on the rail. Chakoya caught wide. You happy with that position, G-Rod?
Not great at Lingfield being on the outside. They usually want to be up against this rail, which the grey horse has come across and got there.
She Do pulling like a cart, Posty.
Very keen early on, and concerning that is Ren's Breath completely outpaced at this moment in time.
Yeah,
Ren's Breath with a lot to do. Barry, what's the in-running play?
Yeah, She Do's out to 6 on the exchange. Pearl Glory, the horse I backed, is into 11 to 4. You've the same price now. 11 to 4 Symphony Perfect.
So Symphony Perfect, just over 2 furlongs to run. She Do in the middle of the screen. Chakoya also on the wide outside. Pearl Glory now looking for an out. Lola Showgirl's run a screamer on the inside. She Do, Pearl Glory just waiting for that gap to come. It's still She Do out in front. Lola Showgirl has the benefit of the rail. Now here comes Pearl Glory having found the gap. Chakoya on the wide outside. Lola Showgirl, game as they like. Here comes Ben Curtis and Pearl Glory, but Lola Showgirl. Tom Marquand, a fantastic ride. One last go from Pearl Glory, but Lola Showgirl is game. And wins for David Loughnane in the grey. A great performance from Lola Showgirl. Not that well fancied, but has delivered the goods, seeing off Pearl Glory with, I think, a gap back to She Do and Chakoya. But a game effort from Lola Showgirl on the return to turf. G-Rod, thoughts?
Bit of rail bias. Yeah. A lot of the time in the summer, Golden Highway up the stand-side rail. I think he was drawn sort of wide, was he not? He was drawn in 3. Yeah,
Drawn 2, or 3, yeah.
3, yeah. So Tom Marquand's been able to come out of stall 3 and get right across the favoured near side rail and then dominate the race. And you see a lot of races during the summer. They have a lot of meetings at Lingfield, Saturday nights, one after the other, and you see it time and time again there. You get on this stand-side rail and it's very difficult to be caught. And that's what's happened.
Pearl Glory, Barry, what did you make of the effort?
Yeah, it's her first run this season. She's ran well. She made a bit of trouble in running. Didn't get the gaps when she could have done with them. And I think if they were on, if the winner had the run that the runner-up had, I think Pearl Glory would have won the race.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And what about She Do, Posty?
Looked a bit fresh for this first start of the season. Over race, got sort of trapped slightly wide on the Jack Mitchell. I'd imagine you will see an improved performance next time with that bit of gas taken out of her. Thunder Beauty also ran well, David O'Meara. But I mean, again, we've got a 86 rated winner, that's massively wrong at the weights in that race. So.
Yeah. So they're strange races on that Lingfield straight turf track sometimes. They are. Like the previous race was a weird one, wasn't it, where they were all bunched up on the ground. Vero Eagle would have won it with because they basically all want the same ground. They all want to come up that stand side rail. So then you end up with 3 or 4 horses all in a line up the stand side rail. And then do you do what Bill Buick did before, where you wait and it doesn't come?
Mm-hmm.
I just think you're better off doing what Tom McCann did there if you've got the horse. Bounce out and go.
So that's the result from that 350. The Chartwell Filly Stakes, well done to Tom Marquand and David Loughnane with Lola Showgirl. However, a feature contest here now, the Victoria Cup, £100,000 handicap, even 28 runners, ultra competitive. One ruler has been smashed up, Barry.
Yeah, 6.8 now, one ruler. Danny had been matched at around the 14 mark, so around 13 to 1. Fresh is 10, 12 Dark Shift, Al-Rahab is 12, 16 Magical Morning, Royal Pleasure 20, 22 Bar. I fancy one in a G-Rod. I think it'll run well. Joya Cheka. You're going to have to scroll down to get to it.
Right.
It's 85 it's trading at the moment. What we're going to do is we're going to have 25 win and 25 place. In the place market here, you can bet 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 places on the Betfair Exchange. It's also 6 places on the Betfair Sportsbook. So we're just going to go 6 places on the Exchange, please, G-Rod, currently trading at around 9.4. We're going to look to back Joya Cheka there as well. It was 4th behind Broadman. A couple of those horses reopposing today. He was only 11.5 off that in Haydock. That was a big improvement on the Musselburgh run. His first run this season, whereas behind Guidor, generally a consistent type who's had a very good run when beaten 3 parts of a length by Modern News, who he gave £1 to in Doncaster last year. If you have a reproduction of that form, would see him on the premises. He's massive. 85 is a massive price in the win, and then he's a 10 to 1 chance in the 6 places. Or he's 8.6, 9.6. So he's 8 to 1 to finish in the 6 places, and we'll cover our stake there. 25 quid win on him in that as well.
Okay, Joya Cheka for Callum Rodriguez and Keith Dalgleish. I'm not going to be the favourite this time, Barry. I'm going to be with Vavatino here for Kevin Philippard de Foy. I thought there was lots of progress last season when trained by Joseph O'Brien. Interesting, though, then bought by Kevin for... well, it doesn't actually say on here, but interesting. Oh, horse trade 28 grand not sold. So interesting, they might have done a private deal. But second to Bless Him on the return, that was a Spencer special on Bless Him. So I think more to come now, reverting to turf. And I'll take a chance on Vavatino at around 24 on the Exchange. What about yourself, Posty?
I'm out. Udi Lali I was with, and I've just seen now has been chalked up as a non-runner. So that was going to be my win and place selection, and a non-runner, unfortunately.
Anything else that did catch your eye when you were having a look through?
I mean, like obviously you can, the case for one ruler is obvious. I mean, Fresh again is just missed out on the Woking. I read something it bled and had an irregular heartbeat. I mean, I see it's been strongly backed for this sort of race, but that'd be a concern for me when horses come back and ran very well first time out in April. Sometimes I think when horses bleed or have had heartbeat issues, running fresh can be a really advantageous, and I wouldn't be certain this horse coming back this time, and it would come with concerns attached for me, Danny.
Okay, G-Rod?
I'm with Dance Fever at a big price for Clive Cox, who won it last year with River Nymph, who he also runs again.
Mm-hmm.
I just again thought this might be the now horse in the race. He's had a couple of runs. I'm sure that Cox will have targeted this race, not only with him but with the other two as well. I mean, Aratus had a run at Leicester in a 3-runner race, probably just a prep run for this. But Dance Fever's got that course form, which I like, on the straight track at Ascot last season. Finished 3rd in the International, which is a very similar 19-runner handicap. Obviously, a few more in this. There's a 28 in this or something, so 27. So it's a very, very difficult race to call. But there's plenty of places on offer, like you've seen. They go down to 8 places on the sportsbook. On the Exchange. I just thought that Dance Fever had run well. Kirby is riding Erratus. That's the only worry, I suppose. Got William Cox claiming off this one, and you lads have already decided that you need to be drawn high, and it's drawn in 3.
Erratus was very free at last year as well, wasn't it? I mean, this big field's going to ask another question of him as well.
I have a feeling he might win a big race this year at Goodwood or something like that. He won a big handicap at Goodwood last year. And I wonder if he's the sort of horse who needs that sort of track where, like a downhill track where they go fast and he can settle because they go fast downhill. This is a different kind of test. Obviously, they will go fast, but I just wonder if Ascot's his track. We'll see.
So what about the favourite then, One Ruler? Obviously, it was well regarded last year, but it never really took off, did it? Really, 6th in the Guineas, 6th in the Derby, a couple of below par efforts. Then went favourite for a listed event at Deauville, and then shaped with promise in Maidan. But I mean, is it now just pitched handicapping off 107? Just could prove too good a handicap?
We've just seen a couple of Godolphin fillies finish first and third or first and second in the last race, and Saeed bin Saror, isn't it? One Ruler, and if he runs to his Guineas form, he's obviously going to go very, very close in this handicap. But it's everything that Godolphin do at the moment, apart from in the Derby trials, wins when they're beaten by Aidan in the Derby trials, don't they?
Frizzy Red, fancy Popmaster in the next, and Ropey Guest each way. So Popmaster for Ed Walker.
Favourite, isn't he? Ropey Guest turns up for all these gigs. Yeah, all these 6-7 furlong handicaps at Ascot, probably better for the Wokingham if he gets in. One's going to fall his way. It's a weird race, isn't it? Like you get these races all summer at Ascot and places like this. You get 27, and you could run this race 100 times and get loads of different winners. So it's a bit of a lottery. But
Popmaster is stamina, isn't it? Like whether this first try at this trip. I mean,
stiff course, isn't it?
Yeah, it's and it's very stiff and very competitive to be trying a new trip. I mean, ran okay behind Gale Force Mayor on his comeback run this season, didn't he?
Yeah, a chance. Ropey Guest 6th in the race last year. One I've got to ask you about, and that's a massive price, but a bit of a fall from grace. Mum's Tipple.
Oh God!
Do you remember at York had the world at the feet, and now a massive price.
I think
in
they
the
were
Victoria
offered
Cup.
huge sums, weren't they, for Mum's Tipple afterwards? I bet they wish they'd sold now. I know that they were playing the sporting game. Yeah, just a bit. 7 figures, wasn't it? Reportedly, but.
I mean, that was a sales race, wasn't it, Don? I mean, they were almost talking up as a Guineas or something off the back of that. But I mean, it just shows, doesn't it?
Yeah, good form on the all-weather, hasn't he? Well, decent form on the all-weather. All-weather horses sometimes do have that crossover with the straight track at Ascot, don't they? But hard to see, isn't it?
Price-wise with Popmaster, Paul Keeley's with Fresh, and the Turpinator. The Turpinator's been talked up by a few for Tom Ward. Didn't know if you had a thought on that, G-Rod?
Tom Ward. Don't know a lot about him. Do you know much about him, Poste?
Again, I mean, he's another of a group of really upwardly mobile young trainers. I don't think the trainers are negative at all, G-Rod, if I'm honest.
And the final one's going to ask you both about Frankie Dettori Factor, Magical Morning.
We know he rides the track well, which we're spoken about. That's half the battle in these 7 furlong mile handicaps is being on a jockey who can wait long enough. And he's one of them. He's on that list, isn't he?
The form from October in the Balmoral is good form, isn't it? And then what about Chief of Chiefs, so Charlie Fellows?
I backed him in this race last year.
Did you?
Yeah, he didn't win, but he was an eye catcher, I think.
Darren Walker, Fresh for me. A straight track at Ascot in a bidfield handicap. Fanshawe, a great record in these big fields. Fresh is sure to run well and always shows the best. Always goes well in these big handicaps. You'd think G-Rod a chance, Fresh?
Yeah, I had him as the main danger, Fresh. I mean, he's up to my selection, Dance Fever. I thought he had the best piece of last time out form. Second last time out in the weather. Does get 7 furlongs. But
28 runners, anything
could win it, really.
Barry, betting update?
We have 6.61 Ruler, 9.8 Fresh, 14 Dark Shift. Al Rab is 12. Royal Pleasure for Thor Hammer Hansen is 21. Some money for that. That's come in a little bit. Chief of Chiefs steady at 36. 21 Path of Thunder for Harry Davis, claiming a valuable 7. He was matched at considerably bigger prices than that. He was matched at around 33 to 1. So he's come in significantly, Path of Thunder.
Just a reminder, how many places here, Barry, as well?
On the sportsbook, it's 6 places. On the exchange, you can bet 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 places.
Okay. So one ruler, still favourite here for the Doiler and Charlie Appleby. Dark Shift, the course and distance winner for Charlie Hills here, Posty.
Yeah, I mean, again, Charlie Hill's in excellent form as well, you know, and finished behind it with my selections and on runner Udalali at Goodwood, but yeah, and then won at Ascot in October. You're taking, as G-Rod said earlier, how sharp they're going to be first run back from a layoff on trust, but again, Charlie Hills is someone who's flying along at the moment, and Dark Shift's another contender in a race that, I mean, crikey, is to say it's wide open is an understatement.
Darkness is an interesting runner for O'Mara. This also, I think this is the one that ran in the Lincoln, is it not? Earlier in the season, but he had similar horses like this, didn't he? Who developed into group horses, like come from France and then developed into like Group 1 performers.
A Lord Glitters.
Yeah, Lord Glitters type. So I think he'll get the right tune out of it.
They're off then in the Victoria Cup. Oh, Vavatino showed pace on the far side. Who's that coming over as well? That looks like Hieronymus.
Are they coming
also
over?
showing good pace. And there is going to be 2 groups.
Yep, 2 big groups.
On the far side, looks like Ropey Guest is prominent.
Yeah, they are coming over. Interesting. I thought they might do two completely different groups, with one right on the stand side and one on the far, but they're all coming towards the stand side, dear Danny.
I know why Dave's gone on holiday, actually. He didn't want to call this race, did he?
Exactly. He's a shrewd man, that Alter.
Hieronymus prominent. Also looks like, I think, the Duachesca, the one put up by Barry, is also going nice in the midfield. Popmaster is up there. Vavatino, also quite keen, is Royal Pleasure for Sir Mark Prescott. Ropey Guest. One ruler towards the back under the Doiler. Chief of Chiefs and Mum's Tipple and Dance Fever look to be your final 3. Go through 3 furlongs. Barry, any movement in the market?
Not massively. Your horse is into 5. He's favoured in running now, Vavatino.
Here we go.
5 fresh as well.
2 furlongs go. Vavatino is going quite nicely. Duachesca up there, fresh. Ropey Guest also prominent. Go on, Vavatino.
Yeah, he's picking
Vavatino
up
going well on the rail. Accidental Agent, the old boy.
Oh, the old boy's coming.
Fresh, Ropey Guest
Looking
and Hieronymus
good.
falls there. Vavatino and
Looking good for
Accidental Agent.
Vavatino.
They're going on. Go on, Vavatino.
Go on, Vavatino.
Vavatino and Accidental Agent go on. Who's going to get up
Oh, the
here?
old
River Nymph
boy's
is staying
coming.
on. Go on, Vavatino. Vavatino all out. That's a
Vavatino's
gorgeous
gonna hold
ride,
on.
Benoit de la Sayette. Vavatino wins. Accidental Agent in second. River Nymph in third. I think staying on for 4th might have been fresh, but what a performance that is from Vavatino. Kevin Philippard de Foy, a good performance.
Yes, Kevin Foy.
Nice effort from Vavatino, but Accidental Agent, what a screamer in
He's
second.
Got a blinder, hasn't he? I mean, what an old character he is, and got a tremendous run up the stand side rail, and I thought maybe he's going to come and nail Vavatino, but Vavatino stuck it out well. Benoit de la Sayette, I think 8 from 16 for Kevin Philippard de Foy yard.
Great performance from Vavatino. One ruler never got involved, was well beaten. Fresh and Ropey Guest, I mean, they're solid handicappers. Fresh could be winning one of these at some point, G-Rod.
Yeah, you would have thought that one will fall his way. Just watching Chief of Chiefs, he got an absolutely terrible run through right at the back there, and then there's a big eye catcher coming home well. And one ruler has come from a mile back.
Yeah,
he was never really looking like a winner. It's finished off.
He could win the Hunt Cup, one ruler. That was a very eye-catching round. I wonder what price he will be for the Hunt Cup. I might back him for the Hunt Cup, one ruler. That was a very, very eye-catching performance because I think that mile might suit him better.
Another horse that was prominent throughout was Hieronymus, who's run well under Nicola Curry, I think finishing 5th in the end. Popmaster probably didn't stay, as you probably said, Posty.
Yeah, I just think the stiff 7 was beyond him, and again, there'll be other days for him either back on a sharper 7 or back down to 6, Danny.
River Nymph has stayed on well, obviously won the race last year. I think it's finished 3rd in the end there, G-Rod.
Yeah, Clive Cox, that was the right Clive Cox horse to be on River Nymph, wasn't it? But not good enough to win this year.
Barry, your reflections?
Sorry, say again?
Your reflections on the race, Barry?
Yeah, the runner-up finished trade at 7-2 on. The winner's done it well at the finish. You bet for SP of 19.1. Well done to you for not tipping a winning favourite.
Thank you, Barry.
19.1 bet for SP.
Hopefully
You're duly rewarded, Danny, on your debut. You can come back.
Thank you. George Murray, well done, Danny. Well done to me. Well done, George. Hope you got a decent price on the exchange. Good performance. And Benoit de la Sayette, obviously, he served his time for for a couple of misdemeanors, but he's come back in brilliant form.
Look, there's no doubt in his ability, isn't it? And I mean, as a £7 claimer, it's absolute gold dust, isn't it? And look, we all make mistakes. He made one. And like you say, he served the suspension. He's back and he's riding incredibly well. And fingers crossed he can keep things on an even keel and like let his talent, his riding do the talking.
You know, watching him there, he looks like Frankie, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
He's very, very stylistically like Frankie Dettori.
Yes, yeah.
But a good performance from Vavatino. But Accidental Agent continues to roll back the years. A good win last time out, and good to see Accidental Agent in good form. Vavatino, probably lots more to come, you might think, going forward for,
I suspect he'll be
for your
back.
man Kevin Foy.
Kevin Foy, I suspect he'll be back for some of these other big ones, won't he? Coming up over the summer, he'll probably have at least another stab at one of these Ascot handicaps, given that we know that he loves the course now.
So there you go, that's the result from the final race we're going to be showing today, the Victoria Cup. Get the guys' reflections on the day's action. Highlights for you, Posty?
Juan de Montalban for started the day off well, and then it was a day of what might have been, Vero Eagle I'm going to take down as an unlucky loser, and then I just ran out of ground with Spirit of the Bay in another 100 yards. But Juan de Montalban I thought was very good in the first. It looks like a horse that has a lot more to come, and again showcasing the talents of Kevin Philippart de Foy, who's then with Vavatino showing that he's a young trainer to keep on the right side of.
7 and 16 to 1 winners for Kevin Philippart de Foy with Juan de Montalban and Vavatino. G-Rod, your highlights?
There hasn't really been one, has there? It's been a very, very frustrating day. To say the least. I think I managed to go 9 races there and not have a winner, which is very, very disappointing.
You had Al-Azi?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, we had Al-Azi. Yeah. So 1 winner out of 9. It's not a great record, is it?
One ruler for the Hunt Cup, though, you said?
Yeah, I like 1 ruler. I think we'll have to wait for the entries to come out before they start betting on it, but I thought that was a very eye-catching run. And the star of the day was, of course, Kevin Foy.
And obviously disappointing in terms of the Derby Oaks picture. That's not looked any clearer after today's 2 trials.
No, we want to see a star, don't we? We want to see a star emerge, because we might have lost one in Luxembourg with having that setback. So we need to see another star emerge. Let's hope that either tomorrow in the Derrensdown or at York next week we might get one.
Barry, reflections from a Betfair point of view?
From a Betfair point of view or from my own point of view?
Well, both.
Danny?
Go on, go both.
Well, from my own point of view, I'll be taking on Al-Azi every day he runs from here on in, bar none, most definitely. And Pro Gloria win plenty of races this year, that filly.
Okay, lots more still to come. Of course, on RP Live next week, we'll have the lock-ins with Bari, the highlight, and then, of course, building up to a couple of weeks after that, the Derby. So lots more. Join the team next week. Thanks very much for your company this afternoon. Thanks to Barry, Graeme and Charlie. Join us next week. I think Dave Orton will be back in the hot seat, but thanks so much for your company. Really enjoyed it. And we'll see you next week on RP Live.